team helps you see the big picture so you can retire younger, richer, and with less anxiety. Because guessing is not a strategy. Tune in to Wealth and Wisdom with Gary Goldberg Saturday mornings at 7 here on KMOX.
And the latest from the world of sports. This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, it's Friday on KMOX, Rush Hour Sports with Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler, and Matt Pauley is hours away from heading to the winter meetings, Bern, so we're going to get some good, juicy stuff, I hope we have stuff happen that you can bring to us, Mr. Pauley.
I hope so, too. That'd be good. I did find out today that they are tentatively scheduling Chaim Bloom's nightly media availability at 5 p.m. Eastern, so that is 4 p.m. Central. So on most nights next week, I'll be going straight from Chaim's suite to the radio to tell you what he just said.
All right, Bern, we can grill him on Monday night right after the meeting.
I'm looking forward to it. You got to stand your ground though, because not that I should talk, but some of those people from the St. Louis media that'll be there with you, man. We got some long-winded questions up in there.
That is true.
You got to cut them off, baby. Get those questions in.
There is one individual in particular. I'm not going to name names because it's not my job to throw anybody under the bus.
I'm right here, man. I'm right here.
I know.
But we are a radio medium, so when we hear answers, we want to hear the answers. And there's a certain member of the media, when they ask questions, as the question is being answered, you hear a lot of, so it's just like constant little noises that does not help from a audio perspective.
No. It's fine if it's like your own interview and you're the one doing that, right? You're showing you're interested in your guest or whatever. But yeah, when you're in a group setting, it's best to ask and then go,
just
hold your breath.
Be quiet. But you know what? If that's the biggest thing I have to complain about, I'm all right.
It's not that big a deal. So just kind of a winter meetings, primer, I guess. I don't want to say preview because we're not really predicting or anything like that. But Bern, we talked a little bit about the Rule 5 earlier. That's a fun thing for the first time in a while, in that this is something that a team like the Cardinals in a rebuild can actually take advantage of. We saw today the team claimed a right-hander off waivers, Zach Kent, who has characteristics, right? So what we're seeing, I think, in this, and what we will probably see in the Rule 5 draft, Bern, is we're seeing the things that Chaim Bloom likes to target, whether it's spin or certain kinds of stuff, swing and miss. I think this is fun information gathering.
Yeah, and I think, they obviously saw something in Kent that they liked. Like, if anybody goes to Baseball Reference and just looks at the raw numbers, you would say, like, okay, whatever. But they obviously, their aptitude goes a lot deeper than that. So they, especially with Rob Cerfolio, who was in Cleveland, I think they can identify some things that he needs to do to get better, and identify some things that they believe they can use to maybe rearrange some things in terms of how he pitches. So yeah, why not, man? Just keep looking at guys. I don't care if they don't have to be big stars. Just keep collecting talent, and you can sort through it and figure it out later.
And let's not forget, Larry Day was another person who came over from the Cleveland organization. Okay. So you've got a couple former Cleveland guys who are going to be very familiar. And just bring in talent, bring in guys who, like you said, Kevin, maybe there's a single pitch that is an elite pitch.
His is a slider.
Yes.
Yeah, he's got a high spin slider, and his fastball's not fast. It's only like 92.5, but he's got the really high-end spin rate on that. So that's, when you think of the things that we talk about, like I say a lot about swinging miss, right? Get swing and miss, but that can come in velocity. That can come in movement, spin. It can come in the form of deception, right? So these are an extension. Bernie, you brought that up, and that was a Cleveland thing. Extension, and that's it's not exactly a strength of Zach Kent's, but it's one of those characteristics that teams value more than looking at an ERA or something like that, because it's more predictive than an ERA is.
And
go ahead.
To put that in perspective, Phil Maton this past year, when he was signed, what did we hear from everyone? Oh, he can spin it. He can spin it. He can spin over and over and over.
Yeah.
And turns out, dude can spin it. And that's where his effectiveness came from. It was his ability to do that. So sometimes if you do have just that one elite pitch, your secondary stuff doesn't have to be that good to play off of it.
Not as a reliever.
I wanted to say, to get back to the Rule 5, We don't have time to get into a breakdown and like start talking about 25 pitchers or anything. I really don't want to do that. But I'm just going to present an overview of some of the research I did. I also texted a couple scouts that I know and known for a long time. And Baseball America put out two different best available Rule 5 players, two lists. They had one of 35, then they updated it to say, well, these are the 50 best players in the Rule 5 draft this year that were available. Well, 29 of 35 were pitchers, the first group. Then when they expanded it to 50, 42 of the 50 were pitchers. There's a lot of really genuinely good pitching talent available in this Rule 5 draft. And I read about every single one of them, and they all seem to have like some really intriguing or really positive attributes. And I'll point out that Chaim Bloom, when he was running the Red Sox, used the Rule 5 draft to select Garrett Whitlock, who's been a good pitcher for them.
Yeah, he's really solid.
And Chaim Bloom recommended that the Cardinals take Ryan Fernandez in the Rule 5 draft. Now, people can only remember what happened 7-8 minutes ago, and Ryan Fernandez did not have a good 2025 season.
No.
But he was fantastic in 2024 for one of the very best bullpens in baseball.
I'm as good as anybody at reading too much into certain things. But when, again, going back to Chaim's going to be talking with us every day, he's going to talk to us from one location on Monday and Tuesday. He's going to talk to us from a different location on Wednesday because of the Rule 5 draft, which is going to be taking place on Wednesday. So I feel like that could be an indication that they feel like that they are going to be active. And the negative of the Rule 5 draft, and I think the reason the Cardinals did not do anything in the Rule 5 draft last year was because it reduces roster flexibility. You are stuck with somebody on your 26-man roster for the entire season as long as you want to keep that player in the organization.
Unless you're willing to risk losing them. Right.
And sometimes you give them back and sometimes they don't get taken back. That they really wanted to have roster flexibility last year. It's still early on in the offseason, but we haven't heard much about roster flexibility for the upcoming year.
No, and you're going to need it. You'll have to use pitchers, based on injuries or just, oh my God, we burned out the bullpen on these couple of days. We need to get a fresh arm or two. I mean, you're going to do that, but again, when your goal, and I think we touched on this on DGS a little bit earlier, Bernie, with relation to the Rule 5, but when your stated goal is we want to be a playoff team, well, then that's the standard that kind of covers everything. And when your goal now is let's build up talent for the long term, you can look at these through slightly different lenses with the way that you run your group.
I agree. I totally agree. And listen, we were talking about it earlier. Listen, through history of the Rule 5 draft, the odds are extremely high against any of the pitchers you draft, like turning into something where you go, wow. But it does happen. The Rule 5 draft is basically a lottery ticket. And if you give me a minute here, some of the guys drafted Rule 5 who had success in the majors. It happened a year ago with Shane Smith, was the first pick in the Rule 5 draft. He had a great year for the White Sox. He was an all-star. Johan Santana, who some people think is like kind of a sleeper Hall of Famer, he was taken in the Rule 5, as was R.A. Dickey, who did win a Hall of Fame, who did win a Cy Young Award. You got Nestor Cortez, you've got Brad Keller, you've got Garrett Whitlock, Ryan Presley, Darren O'Day, Tommy Conley, Josh Fields, Kevin Kelly, Justin Slater, Ryan Fernandez, Evan Meek, Jason Grilly, on and on, and Tyler Wells, on and on and on. It's worth taking a chance on. It really doesn't cost you anything except some money, but not much.
Yeah.
Because if you know what you're doing and you have enough good information on all of these guys, I think a smart group like Chaim Bloom has put together, I think they've got maybe a little better chance of cashing in on all the time they put in studying Rule 5 candidates.
Absolutely. All right, more Hot Stove coming up next. We're going to talk some college football later on. To use Bernie's term, we may holler at the Blues a little bit later on, too, because we got another instance of the coach questioning effort.
So I guess the Blues have started a rebuild. They didn't tell us. They didn't want to be like the Cardinals or what? So anyway.
Yeah, the players have already started it on their own without the acknowledgement of their head coach, apparently. We'll get more Hot Stove next, though, coming up here on KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
3-2 delivery. On its way.
There, when he became a hometown hero.
Swing and a high drive to center field. Get up, baby. Get up, baby. Get up. Oh, yeah. David Freese has just sent us into game number 7. This series is tied 3-3 with a walk-off home run here in the bottom of the 11th inning.
You know, this team deserves this, and this organization is top-notch, and these fans are unbelievable, and they are the best fans in baseball. This is definitely a dream come true.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by the Polar Express at St. Louis Union Station. Get your tickets now at stlpolarexpressride.com.
The Polar Express is back in St. Louis. Book your magical trip before they sell out. Book a weekday trip in November and receive a complimentary ticket to ride the St. Louis Wheel. The Polar Express train is arriving at the St. Louis Union Station on November 14th, and you're invited to hop in. Start a journey towards the North Pole. Meet Santa Claus and his elves, and see STL from 200 feet up, and feel the magic of the Christmas story everybody loves. Book your trip at stlpolarexpressride.com. All aboard the Polar Express.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesar Sportsbook app now. Use code RADIOMO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promotions or the promotions tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
Swapping out your tires? There's nothing like it. With eBay, you can find the feel you're looking for. From smooth highway rides to grip for rough terrain. Get all the tires you need at prices you'll love. eBay. Things people love.
Traffic from the MichaelsFloorandOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we still got our 270 jam, unfortunately. This traffic reports a service of Pine Valley Assisted Living. Eastbound 270 still on the brakes from Bell Fountain all the way across the Chain Rocks Bridge due to restrictions on the Illinois side. Westbound 70, a little back up through the city limits. There's still some slow stuff at the Blanchette Bridge, 94 through Zumbel. After that, you're good to go till you get to 61, and it's just briefly delayed there. Westbound 64, Science Center headed out through Big Bend is slow. West of Lindbergh to 270 heavy. A backup Clarkson down to Chesterfield Parkway West because of an incident, and bogged down again Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70. 270 between Ladue and Manchester, heavy both ways. Southbound to Olive, down to about Big Bend is the busy part going that way. Southbound 55, a little slow from Arsenal down to about Gasconade. Southbound 67, Buck Creek down through Meyer Road, just heavy from an earlier crash. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Looking for a beautiful, all-inclusive place for your loved one? Happy holidays from Pine Valley Assisted Living. Secure a room between now and January 31st and take advantage of our move-in special. Enjoy affordable rates with absolutely no hidden fees. Experience the beautiful life at Pine Valley. Visit rspseniorliving.com today.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's Friday, heading into the winter meetings, heading into a really fun college football weekend, which actually starts tonight. Good NFL stuff on Sunday as well. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler with you here on Rush Hour Sports. Just a little more baseball, guys, then we'll do some college football and maybe yell at the Blues for a few minutes at the end. So Derek Gould threw this question at me today. We were talking on the best podcast in baseball, which I think will be out a little bit later on or tomorrow, one of those two. But we're just kicking it around. I'm not asking you guys for anything deep or any hardcore answer, just a vibe. He threw this at me, and I think I came to the conclusion finally, like, yeah, it might be a good idea given where you are. Should you be thinking about an extension for your manager? Or you want to play the year out? Considering you're in a rebuild and all things, right? All things, not just the job that you think he's done, but all things.
I'm on record of defending Ollie Marmol for a lot of things. Also criticize him too when it's warranted, which of course the trolls never acknowledge. But I'm not. I don't see any reason to rush personally. Okay. I really don't. Suppose there's some things that happen during the season where Ollie just isn't handling it well or not making good decisions, and maybe Chaim Bloom would start to reevaluate his opinion of Ollie, because I know he respects him and likes him and thinks he did a good job the last couple of years, which he did, given what he had to work with. But I just don't think it's anything you should rush into. There's just no reason to do it. Yeah. I mean, I'll just leave it at that. Yeah. No need to keep repeating it.
It's a good point.
99% of the time, I'm going to say you don't want a manager in a lame duck situation. It's just not good for anybody involved. This is in the 1% for me, because I think it's an opportunity for Ollie and Chaim to work shoulder to shoulder for a year and see if it's a good arrangement. Because Chaim's been around, but he hasn't been Ollie's boss. Like that dynamic changes now.
Sure.
So why give the guy? And I'm an Ollie guy. I want him to be around for a while. But I think you go into it and you see what that relationship was like. I think, and maybe it's something where mid-season they give him the extension because it's everything that Chaim thought it was going to be. But I don't see any reason to give him the extension right now.
Yeah, it's interesting because when he asked me that, when Derek asked me that, my answer first off initially was exactly what you two guys just said. That, I can think about it, but no need to do it now, right? No need. There's no rush. You got a year. You're not trying to contend, right? So it's not like you're heating up his seat if you're hanging around, because we know you're rebuilding. So you're not really going, quote unquote, on the hot seat in a lame duck year. And then Derek pointed out to me that, the money we're talking about for a manager in his position is probably not. It's not like you're locking it in for those 3 years. You can move on from that like you move on from a reliever if you're not happy with the performance. But I've been on the fence on it mostly because of what you guys said. You guys hit the crux of it. There's no rush.
And, frankly, with all due respect to Derek Gould, who I do respect, I don't really care about the money.
Good point.
Ollie's not going to be – he's not getting like Tony La Russa money.
Right.
It's just that, to me, that shouldn't even be a factor. I mean, it's relatively short money. I don't listen. It's already tough in town where we know that although Ollie's status with reasonable fans has improved, right? The trolls never, but reasonable people who try to be fair, his status has improved. But there's still a lot of Cardinals fans who, they throw in these dramatic comments. It's like, I'll never go to a game there until they fire that clown and all, You got a whole cult of people like that have talked themselves into believing this is like the worst manager in the history of baseball or something. But my point is, why take the risk of it extending a guy before you really have to, and then you have the team play much worse than expected, and we expect the team to struggle. But the performance is really bad, and there's a lot of things going wrong, and the manager's not fixing the problems, or maybe the manager's adding to the problems. So then you have yourselves a total PR
great point.
Lollapalooza.
Yeah. Because
you've already extended them.
It's a great point.
And that all you're going to do is make more fans mad and give the ones with the victim complex, they'll be like, I'll never buy a ticket there ever, again.
It's a great point.
What's the point of bringing that on yourself?
No, it's a great point. It's probably not worth the headache when you can just do it after the year. Yeah.
And there's a messaging part of it as well. I mean, this team is trying to send a certain message right now about the future and young players and moving into a new era and all this sort of stuff. That needs to be the clear message, and that needs to be their sales pitch. And that sales pitch isn't going to get that many more people into the ballpark this year. I think we know that. But I think giving an extension to Oliver Marmol right now kind of muddies that message. There's a message with Chaim Bloom being, this is about Chaim Bloom right now.
And this is new. Right.
So, I hope Marmol gets an extension at some point. I just don't think doing it before the season makes sense.
Really fair. All of it very fair. And again, with this time when you got so much other stuff to do, I don't, and certainly I wouldn't say do it now. I mean, you got a lot of other work that you got to take care of before you would even think about it. But I think those are really great points, especially about not creating anxiety that doesn't need to be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, that's a really, and when you're thinking about how this all plays, that's a really good way to look at it. All right, that's it for the winter meetings until we get to Monday when we do this, and Matt Pauley will be coming fresh out of the meeting with Chaim Bloom, so we'll know what's going on. We'll get the latest on that Monday evening. We'll do some college football coming up next. Really great weekend, some impactful games, playoff spots on the line, good matchups. We'll talk a bit about that next up here on KMOX.
This holiday, give the gift that lasts all season long. Cardinals ticket packs are on sale now, starting at 5, 6, and 10 games. All packs include 2026's top games and favorite giveaways. Backed by popular demand, choose from the opening day pack or the bobblehead pack. Check out the Cubs pack, weekend pack, or apparel pack. There's a pack for everyone. Find your perfect gift right now at cardinals.com/tickets.
The holidays come and go, but Cardinals baseball lasts all season long. This year, give the gift of all-inclusive tickets, featuring a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views at Busch Stadium. Enjoy great food, good times, and every moment of the action. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Coca-Cola Scoreboard Patio, and more. Make your holidays brighter with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
Hey guys, Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. So as you know, I'm a lawyer, haven't practiced in a long time, but I did plaintiff's work and defense work, so I have a pretty good understanding of it. I have a pretty good idea of who's who in the firmament of plaintiffs' attorneys. And for my money, Mark Cantor is the guy. He's a great attorney. He is a great practitioner. He's put together a great team. He was born and raised here. He lives here. He works here. He wins here. Call 314-628-ALL-9s or CantorInjuryLaw.com. The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based on advertising.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
This is Megan Lynch. 250 doctors go to Ophthalmology Associates. That's why I trust them. Ophthalmology Associates, 314-966-5000 or youridoc.com.
For all station contest rules, go to KMOX.com/rules.
At 5:30, we have 33 degrees downtown at the Arch. I'm Sean Malone in for Michael Calhoun. This bottom of the hour news is brought to you by Michael's Flooring Outlet, the flooring experts. MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com. Police continue to search for a man accused of shooting a Granite City police officer this afternoon. Officers were called to the 2000 block of Johnson Road for an unwanted individual. According to Mayor Mike Parkinson, that individual then opened fire on responding officers.
One officer was struck several times, and he has been transported to a local hospital where he is currently receiving treatment.
Parkinson says the officer was speaking upon arriving at the hospital. The shooter remains at large and is considered armed and dangerous. He is described as a white man with dark hair. The U.S. Supreme Court agreed on Friday to review President Donald Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship. The conservative-dominated court did not set a date for oral arguments in the blockbuster case, but it is likely to be early next year with a ruling in June. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson provides more context.
If the Trump perspective prevails, then I think what you see is, frankly, in the short term, an administrative mess in the sense of trying to figure out who is a citizen and who is not. What is the status of newborn's parents? Can you prove that when you go into, I mean, this is a bit of an exaggeration, but can you prove when you go into labor and delivery that in fact both parents are U.S. citizens or have legal status?
From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, tonight, partly cloudy to mostly cloudy. Not as cold as recent nights, but still pretty cold with lows of 30 degrees. Tomorrow, quite chilly with some spots of clouds and sun, highs of 39 degrees. Tomorrow night, becoming cloudy again with a bit of rain late, lows of 34 degrees. And on Sunday, bit of rain in the morning mixed with a little sleet or snow in some places. Otherwise, cloudy with increasing winds, highs of 38 degrees. I'm Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Oh, baby, it's happening. FanDuel Sportsbook is live and ready to roll in the Show Me state, and they're celebrating with a little something for everyone. All this week, every customer gets a no-sweat bet every day. That's right. No matter what you're betting on, if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back to keep the action going. Whether it's football, basketball, hockey, or whatever you're into, you can bet it all on an app that's safe, secure, and built for every kind of fan. So the interface is quick, payouts are fast, the experience is top tier. Download it at FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel Sportsbook now live in Missouri. 21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Hey, Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin Comfort dealer. It's been taking care of the Miklasz family for 18 years. But we came late to the party because the Saliga family continuously has owned this great business since 1927, all those generations of St. Louisans. What a great business this is. So they've earned the trust from the city and the people that have turned to them and relied on them, and we're one of those families. All I got to do to tell you is that they are reliable. They're prompt in terms of when they come to your house. They're classy. They're professional. The knowledge is superb. The honesty is the best part about them because they're never going to try to sell you something, mislead you to try to get you to spend more money or buy something you may not need. So the trust factor is huge. The credibility is huge with us. And I think if you give Saliga a try, you will feel the same way. You will come to the same conclusion. The one thing I want you to do is check out their Priority Club. It's a maintenance plan. It's going to save you money by extending the life of your equipment. We've been in that club for a long time, and we have saved a lot of money. If you want to find out more about Saliga family, this great family business, Saliga Heating and Cooling, go to SaligaHeatingandCooling.com. Thank you.
At Hardee's, every Tuesday is now Tender Bender Tuesday. Right now, download the Hardee's app and join My Rewards. Buy 3 hand-breaded chicken tenders, get 3 free. It's Tender Bender BOGO every Tuesday now through June 2026. This Tuesday, get 3 tenders, free. Next Tuesday, get them free. The Tuesday after that, you guessed it, free. Buy 3 tenders, get 3 free. Another great benefit for My Rewards members. Only at Hardee's. Registration and app required. Available for limited time at participating restaurants. See app for terms.
After a disaster, emotional recovery takes time. Show Me Hope Missouri is here for you with free, confidential support. Counselors help with stress, coping skills, and connect to resources. If the St. Louis tornado impacted you, visit moshowmehope.org from Missouri Department of Mental Health.
Jingle bells, jingle all the way.
Nick, what are you doing?
Well, Adam, Thanksgiving is over, so it's officially time for the holidays.
And it's time for our Legacy Box Cyber Monday sale. Legacy Box is the most meaningful gift you can give this holiday season. It's simple, safe, and has been trusted by millions.
That's right. It's our best sale of the year. Right now, when you go to LegacyBox.com, you can save an unreal 65% on your Legacy Box.
And for a limited time, you can preserve your tapes, film reels, and photos for as low as $27, saving you hundreds.
Hurry, our best sale of the year won't last long. Visit LegacyBox.com for an unreal 65% off during our Cyber Week sale. With limited quantities ready to ship, this deal will go fast.
Shop our Cyber Week sale now at LegacyBox.com/value to take 65% off. Buy your Legacy Box today and send in when you're ready. LegacyBox.com/value.
Your ambition just met its match with Robinhood. Trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. All investments involve risk, including loss of principal. Options, futures, and crypto trading carry significant risk and may not suit all investors. Securities offered through Robinhood Financial LLC, member SIPC. Futures trading is offered by Robinhood Derivatives LLC, not FDIC or SIPC protected. Crypto offered through Robinhood Crypto, LLC. NMLS ID 1702840. Not FDIC or SIPC protected. Portfolio management offered by Robinhood Strategies. An SEC registered advisor.
FIFA World Cup 2026 is coming soon, but your opportunity to be there starts now through an exclusive offer with an eligible Bank of America Visa credit card. For a limited time, become a new customized cash rewards or unlimited cash rewards Visa credit card holder, and you will be eligible for a chance to purchase FIFA World Cup 2026 tickets. Learn more at BofA.com/cardFWC26. What would you like the power to do? Bank of America, proud to be the official bank of FIFA World Cup 2026. Bank of America NA in partnership with Visa. Terms apply. Rights reserved.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER. Major League Baseball's winter meetings begin Sunday in Orlando, and all eyes are on Hein Bloom with expectations he'll be busy.
I do think it's going to be a busy couple of weeks. Now, we don't have anything up our sleeves right now that's about to drop. I think you'll see things escalating as we get closer to the winter meetings.
KMOX will be reporting live from the winter meetings. Matt Pauley and Mike Claiborne will bring you exclusive reports with updates, access, and breaking news you won't hear anywhere else. Your home for St. Louis Cardinals coverage. KMOX.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Cunahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions and bring you a special Black Friday offer.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have leaf filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
That's leaffilter.com/deal. And now, as a special Black Friday offer, you can get a free gutter inspection, plus up to 35% off. This is our best offer of the season. Unlock it now at leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Retiring soon? Get the information you need by joining Kyle Jones and Matt Allgeier of Fire Capital Management for your retirement highway, Sunday mornings at 9:30. Investment advisory services made available through Pine Ridge Advisors, LLC, a registered investment advisor. Securities made available through AE Financial Services, LLC, member FINRA and SIPC.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
Traffic from the michaelsflooringoutlet.com traffic center.
Well, we still have a jam in North County on eastbound 270, but it's getting better. This traffic reports a service of the Penn Mutual Life Insurance Company. You're still bumper to bumper from Bell Fountain through to about Riverview. It's opening up approaching Riverview. We had an earlier incident between the bridges. They cleared it, so like I said, it's getting better. South 170 slow at Ladue, jammed at the Parkway down to 64. Eastbound 64 is stop and go east of Lindbergh all the way into Big Bend. Looks like you may have a crash there just before Big Bend. Westbound 64, Science Center, headed out through pretty much Hanley's congested, and there's slow stuff Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70. 270 between Manchester and Ladue still busy. Southbound goes down to about Doherty Ferry. Northbound gets close to Olive, actually. Southbound 55 barely busy at Bates. Westbound 64 just a little slow downtown crossing the Poplar Street Bridge, and there's some slow traffic. Eastbound 70, really, Bermuda through Lucas Hunt. North 270, the right lanes, midway up from Dorset to 70 are also a little slow. And westbound 70 busy, 94 through Zumbel. At Penn Mutual, we believe that life insurance is the central part of a sound financial plan and that it can make an enduring impact for generations to come. Talk to your independent advisor or go to pennmutual.com/STL. Penn Mutual, trusted for life. I'm Roger Brand at the michaelsflooringoutlet.com Traffic Center.
This is Rush Hour Sports on 104.1 FM KMOX.
All right, Rush Hour Sports here on KMOX. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler hanging out. I did want to get to one last baseball thing because I just saw it come in, and I thought it was a good question from Deadly St. Louis. Said, serious question. With the news of the Cardinals being in the welfare line, being in the revenue sharing part of this, in MLB. Do you get extra picks and money or what? There has to be some perk involved, right? Well, there are perks. We just saw this, what was it, guys, 2 days ago?
Yeah.
That they're getting what will probably be the number 32 pick in the draft next year. So basically an extra first rounder. So in addition to getting revenue sharing money, you're getting money, there is a benefit to it. So I thought we could explain that real quick. All right, college.
But you also are not able to be in the lottery of the draft for
Right.
multiple years in a row after that. So I don't think they're eligible for a lottery pick next year.
Follow it. So 2027.
Right. They are this
They
year,
are
but
this
not
year.
next year.
Correct.
I believe.
Yeah. All right. College football, boys. Big weekend. We got a lot to be decided here. Buys in the college football playoff. Couple of spots at large that could be in play here. And some great games tomorrow, Bern. You outlined it earlier when we were on DGS, but I think these games on Saturday are phenomenal.
Yeah, and I don't know how you want me to do this because I don't want to hog the mic. I think BYU Texas Tech. I think Texas Tech's going to slam them. Texas Tech is a great football team, and BYU cannot match up to their physicality. And that defensive front that Texas Tech has is maybe the best in the nation. So, yeah, I don't see that being much of a game. Texas Tech has won its last 5 games straight up and against the spread, outscoring opponents 2-11 to 36. So I don't. If anybody else has any thoughts on that game, go for it. But then we can head to a couple other games that are interesting.
Mine are the same as yours.
Yeah.
I feel like BYU has been overrated all year. I don't think they've played any kind of quality of competition at all. In fact, the one team they played that was good is Texas Tech, and Texas Tech whipped them. I shouldn't say that. Utah's pretty good, and they beat Utah, but it's not a very strong schedule. And I think Texas Tech is clearly the better team. So in that one, we are all in agreement, it looks like.
But you throw that game out because that's the Holy War. So, that doesn't represent who BYU actually is.
No, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's a good point. I think you hit it, Bernie. What that game looked like earlier in the year is what I expect tomorrow.
And and Texas Tech's quarterback's playing at a really high level.
Yeah.
The one game they lost, he didn't play.
Right. And
in the 9 FBS games he played, they won, and they outscored the other side by an average of 30.5 points per game. I mean, this is I listen. I don't rule out the fact that Texas Tech could actually be the best team in the country. We're gonna find out.
Yeah, they're gonna get their shot. Yeah. Well, if they win, and I think they will. So we get the shot. I love the Georgia-Alabama matchup. I mean, that's going to be classic. These two teams don't like each other. The only thing that is interesting, I shouldn't say the only thing. The one thing that's really interesting to me is Georgia's a slight favorite, but Kirby Smart has an Alabama problem.
Yeah.
And it's about the only problem he's had since he's been at Georgia.
Yeah, and I don't even know what to make of it. I mean, I'm not surprised that anybody would lose to Nick Saban, but Kirby's now 0-2 against Kalen DeBoer, which is weird to me. I will say this: I'm just interested in what happened earlier this year, and of course, Alabama won the game 24-21, and they were great in the first half. But Kirby Smart made some adjustments, and people forget Alabama did not score a single point in the second half of that game. And I think the Bulldogs' defense continues to improve. They've allowed about 7 points a game the last 3. And one other thing I'll throw in here. Ty Simpson gets all the run about, he's a Heisman candidate, blah, blah, blah. In SEC games, SEC versus SEC this year, Gunnar Stockton, the Georgia quarterback, had a higher passer efficiency rating than Simpson. He had a bunch of statistics where he was much better than Simpson. But I don't think many people look at him as being the better quarterback in this game, and he actually is. If the facts matter, he's a really underrated player. I would take Georgia and lay the 2.5 myself.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Yeah, I'm right there.
And I want that to happen too, but we'll get to those reasons later if we have a couple of minutes. I don't think Bama's getting knocked out of the playoff because they'll just keep them in there even if they lose, but I would like to see them lose and get knocked out, even if that's just wishful thinking.
Gotcha.
But the game of the week is clearly 1 versus 2. It's Ohio State, Indiana. Our buddy Tom Ackerman is going to be in Indianapolis for the game. I'm so desperately rooting for Indiana. I hate Ohio State. They're just on my list of teams that I've hated for a long time. Grew up near Michigan. Had the run-in with them in the college football championship game as a Miami fan. So I always root against Ohio State. I just have a really bad feeling about Indiana in this one. I feel like Ohio State wins, not in a blowout, but maybe easier than I would like. I want Indiana to win so badly.
My only question is, like, I think Ohio State wins a game. I'm wondering if, for those who bet, against the spread or whatever, whether Indiana can cover the 4. I think they can. But here's, I'll be brief here. I would say Ohio State's the best team I've seen this year, but I got to give Indiana an edge in terms of proving something Ohio State has not had to prove, and that is Ohio State really persevered against 2 top 10 defenses on the road, Oregon and Iowa, and emerged with tough victories. And also that game at Penn State, which was a disaster, a huge upset. They're about to go over the cliff. They fought back and won that game on the road. And some people say, well, Penn State sucks. That's not the point. They were at the they were at the edge of the cliff. They were about to go over. And Mendoza made that great play, the great catch in the end zone. And say, while Texas gave the Buckeyes a tight game, if you go by the score early in Columbus, I don't think Ohio State has really been challenged all on one hand, you say, well, that's because they're great. The other hand is, well, I think someone's going to challenge them, and it could be Indiana because of their quarterback, right? And the kid at Ohio State's a great quarterback. He's never had to win a game.
That's right.
Where everybody's in his face and the pressure is on. So I think it's a really interesting matchup. I'm sorry for going on so long.
No, not at all.
I think Indiana probably will cover. I would not invest a lot in that, though.
I wouldn't either. And I won't be. I'll be playing on that one, but I may choose the over if I'm going to choose anything.
This has nothing to do with what's going on in the game, but what a day it's going to be in Indianapolis for Indiana fans, because men's basketball plays in Indianapolis against number 6 Louisville in the middle of the afternoon, and then Indiana plays the Big Ten championship game that night. I love the city of Indianapolis to start off with. That's going to be a really fun day for Indiana fans.
Man,
ACC game. What do you think? Nobody cares.
I mean, Virginia is so much better than Duke, and it's just because the ACC, and this is the reason this happens is that conference expansion has made it so you can't play balanced schedules, and the ACC has stupid tiebreakers because there are 3 or 4 teams better than Duke that are not in this game. I get it, but they're a 7-5 team. Duke's going to get rolled this week. I know the spread's only 4. I've seen both teams play. I think Virginia is significantly better.
Look, this is really simple for these leagues. First tiebreaker head-to-head, second tiebreaker where you're at in the college football playoff rankings. Do what's right for your league and give your teams an opportunity to go get another important win to get yourself in. Now, sometimes that can bite you in the butt and you can, perform poorly and you get knocked out. But there should be standardized tiebreakers in college football. First tiebreaker, head-to-head, second tiebreaker, college football playoff ranking.
No, we got to make it more complicated than that.
What day was your firstborn child?
The only thing that intrigues me about this, I always pay attention to where the sharp money's gone. Because the sharp money is just that. It's sharp money. And there's a lot of betting coming in on Duke, taking the 4 points on Duke, and even Duke winning outright. I don't see it. Duke's defense has been absolutely horrendous for the last 4 or 5 weeks. In one of the games, Virginia scored 31 points in 3 quarters on the Blue Devils, and then they eased up. It was in mid-November. They just eased up in the fourth quarter, and UVA still won the game by 17. So I don't understand. Even the Sharps, who I respect, I'm not quite sure I follow their thinking here.
I'm with you on that. Same thing. All right, take a quick timeout. We come back. We're going to wrap it up, and I don't know, either complain or yell at the Blues, one or the other, because there's nothing good, and they are the most boring team in the league right now, and they're earning their lack of attention on shows like this one. We'll get into them for a few minutes coming up next here on KMOX.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we got a jam in Richmond Heights right now, but it's getting better. Eastbound 64 is bumper to bumper east of Lindbergh in through 170. We had a crash at Big Bend. They cleared it to the shoulder, so it's just slow to that point now. Like I said, it's opening up as you get through the Innerbelt. The Innerbelt itself, slow at Ladue, jammed at the Parkway, southbound down to 64. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out to Big Bend. They were looking at that crash on the eastbound side, so it's still slow westbound as well, and it's still slow west of Lake St. Louis Boulevard out to 70. West and eastbound 70 around the city limits a little busy. Westbound 70 A to Z in the Wentzville area is slow. North 270 and South 270 slow in the right lanes getting on to westbound 70 over in the Pattonville, Richmond Heights area, or Maryland Heights area, North 270, Manchester up through Ladue, still pretty busy there. Southbound's not bad, just a little busy at Big Bend. Westbound across the Poplar slow, and eastbound 270 just slow approaching Riverview across the Chain of Rocks. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Rush Hour Sports continues on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
All right, a few more minutes here on Rush Hour Sports. Bernie Miklasz, Matt Pauley, Kevin Wheeler, till we run off into the weekend. Nothing really shocking or newsworthy or wild about the Blues losing to Boston on the road last night. It's their second straight loss. They've lost 4 of their last 6. They've been terrible all year. They're one of the 4 or 5 worst teams in the league. All of that being said, I'm really tired of hearing the coach and the captain of the team say that we're not giving enough effort. There's no greater indictment of a team or a group of athletes than saying you're not trying hard enough. And I was talking to a guy on Twitter last night, guys, and Matt, you commented on it as well. And Bernie, we were talking about what the identity of the team is. And I said, the identity of this group of players, this core group, is that they're coach killers. That's their identity.
Yeah.
They don't have one other than that.
And what Jim Montgomery did with this group, most of which is still intact, what he did with them to lead them from an embarrassing season to the playoffs, and they should have won the playoff series. But the Blues were a great story. I don't understand how a group of players can be inspired to do what they did last year from a bad spot, and they're rolling over and playing dead for the same coach. I don't. And the other thing I hate, to back up your point, Wheels, is Colton Parayko said it. And by the way, the guy had 13 goals last year. He doesn't have any this year. He's part of the problem.
Yes.
He says, like, listen, everybody in this room knows what they have to do. We know what we have to do. Well, why the hell don't you do it then? I mean, they regurgitate this nonsense and they think it makes them sound like they're holding themselves accountable.
Right.
It's the exact opposite.
Exactly right.
Last night tells you everything you need to know about this team from a character standpoint.
Yep.
Because when you've got your coach going in to face off against his former team, we've all been around sports for a really long time, and we've seen it time after time after time. Coach goes in against his former team, player goes in against their former team. What happens? Everybody lifts their level. Everybody says, I love this guy, and I'm going to go play that much harder because we're going to make this a good night for him. What did the Blues do last night? They didn't do a darn thing. And I feel bad for Jim Montgomery that these guys that he is coaching cannot find another level on the night that he goes back to Boston. It's the character. This team has zero character. I want this team just blown up. I am so done watching these guys who we heard Craig Berube say the same things about him, about Drew Bannister said the same things about him, and now Jim Montgomery is saying the same things. It is a bad group of players. There are some good players in there, but when you bring them together as a collection, there is no character, there is no fight for anything. They just lay down. And to Bernie's point, the fact that they did what they did in the second half of the season last year looks more remarkable on an everyday basis.
Yeah, man, I'm way down on them. I did write about them this week.
Yeah.
I said I didn't trust them, and I don't, because they were doing a little better. So I still don't trust them.
Yeah,
their goaltending's terrible, and they don't score. That's pretty much a bad combination.
See, I mean, you're right. If you're not that great, don't be boring. They're the most boring team in the league to watch. Nothing happens. They don't hit anybody. They're not creative. They're not taking enough shots. They're not finishing on enough shots. There's just nothing there. And at this point, and I'm not talking about the coach here, but I'm talking about some of the veteran players who think that they're going to try to be leaders. Maybe it's time to actually do something other than speak in cliches. Drop a name. Who are the guys not playing hard enough? Right. We know who they are. We can see it. But at some point, we got to stop soft pedaling this. And at some point, look, a lot of this is on Army too. He built these guys. Look, he built the Cup team. He gets credit for that, and he should. He should never have to buy dinner again in St. Louis. At the same time, this is also his group. And he's the one that's got to fix it before he takes off and leaves out. Well, he's not even taking off, but before the whole change comes around.
Which we don't really even know if it's going to be that much of a change because
Right.
he's still going to be around.
You know, Matt, real quick, to your point, man, I want to back you up about they don't have character. They have a terrible record when they score first in a game. Have a terrible record. They don't hold it. They have a terrible record when they're behind after one period, behind after two periods. They have a terrible record in 1-goal games. And they've played 7 overtime games where they had a chance to get 14 points out of that. And they didn't win one of those games. They're 0-7 where they only got a point because that's automatic in overtime.
Yep.
You got 7 chances to make a statement in overtime games. You failed every single time. They have no character. They're bums, okay?
Good times. That's a great wrap up, and we'll be here on Monday talking winter meetings. Bernie, have a great weekend. Matt, safe travels. Have a good weekend as well. Everybody else out there, have a great weekend. We'll talk to you on Monday here on KMOX.
Get this, 42% of baby boomers don't even know how much money they have in their nest egg. If you're not sure where you stand in terms of getting ready for retirement, you should be listening to the All Financial Hour with Steve All.
Let's sit down and talk about your questions, because I think that's the most important. Do you have?
Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX.
Winter Wonderland, presented by St. Louis County Parks and Recreation at Tillis Park, is now open through January 3rd. Enjoy more than 1 million dazzling lights with holiday characters and festive scenes. Whether you're carrying on a family tradition or starting a new one, you'll never see anything like Winter Wonderland at Tillis Park. Happy holidays from Kirkwood Fence, Tully Tire, Washington University Orthopedics, Restoration One, and Happy Roof. More info at KMOX.com.
Oh, baby, it's happening. FanDuel Sportsbook is live and ready to roll in the Show Me state, and they're celebrating with a little something for everyone. All this week, every customer gets a no-sweat bet every day. That's right. No matter what you're betting on, if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back to keep the action going. Whether it's football, basketball, hockey, or whatever you're into, you can bet it all on an app that's safe, secure, and built for every kind of fan. So the interface is quick, payouts are fast, the experience is top tier. Download it at FanDuel.com/Missouri. That's FanDuel.com/Missouri. FanDuel Sportsbook now live in Missouri. 21 plus and present in Missouri. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
Traffic from the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Well, we've got a little bit of a jam right now on northbound 255 approaching 5570. They're working to clear a crash just north of there. Still heavy traffic on South 170 from the Parkway to 64, eastbound 64 east of Lindbergh to Big Bend, slow. Westbound 64 Science Center headed out to Hanley heavy. North 270 slow, Manchester up through Ladue. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
Supreme Court to consider birthright citizenship.
I think this is going to be a bit of an uphill battle for the Trump administration.
Hepatitis B recommendation for babies at birth on track to end.
8 votes yes and 3 votes no. The motion passes.
D.C. pipe bomb suspect.
Brian Cole made a very brief appearance in court.
This is the CBS World News Roundup Late Edition. I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Supreme Court agrees to take up the constitutionality of President Trump's executive order on birthright citizenship. The order says children born to parents who are in illegally or temporarily are not American citizens. Critics have sharply disagreed. CBS's Melissa Quinn explains.
The 14th Amendment has long been understood to confer citizenship on people who are born in U.S. soil. But the Trump administration is arguing that that is wrong. And it has said that interpreting the 14th Amendment in this way can have destructive consequences for the U.S.
The High Court has not set a date for oral arguments, but it is likely to be early next year with a ruling in June. A CDC vaccine advisory Advisory Committee has voted to recommend babies get their first hepatitis B shot at 2 months of age rather than at birth.
Vice Chair Dr. Robert Malone voted for the change. He's one of several vaccine skeptics Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appointed to the panel.
Policies that the American public have experienced during COVID has severely damaged their confidence in public health and in the vaccine enterprise.
Dr. Cody Meisner voted no.
We have heard do no harm is a moral imperative. We are doing harm.
The American Academy of Pediatrics opposed the change, saying the vaccine is safe and effective. Michael Wallace, CBS News.
After meeting today in Florida, U.S. and Ukraine officials say they'll meet for a third day tomorrow after progress on a security framework and urging Russia to commit to peace. They say in a statement that progress on a peace deal depends on Russia. A Virginia man accused of planting pipe bombs near the Democratic and Republican Party headquarters on the eve of the January 6th U.S. Capitol riot has made his first court appearance. Brian Cole Jr. of Woodbridge, Virginia, did not enter a plea in district court in Washington, D.C. CBS's Scott McFarland.
According to charging documents, they linked Cole to those bombs through cell phone records, which allegedly place him at the scene that night, and by purchasing credit card records, which they say show he bought some of the components similar to those found in the bombs.
Netflix and Warner Brothers Discovery say they've entered into an agreement that will join Hollywood's storied film and TV studio and the streaming platform in an almost $83 billion cash and stock deal. It still needs regulatory approval. Stocks rose on Wall Street. The Dow closed up 104 points. Now this.
Sponsored by Progressive. See why over 43 million drivers trust Progressive to stay protected on the road. See for yourself at Progressive.com.
At 6:03, we have 33 degrees, mostly clear skies downtown at the Arch. I'm Sean Malone. Police in Granite City continue to search for a man accused of shooting one of their officers. According to Police Chief Gary Brooks, here's what happened.
At approximately 2:19 p.m., we responded to an unwanted subject call in the 2000 block of Johnson Road in Granite City. Officers encountered a subject who immediately began firing upon the officers. One officer was struck several times. And then the subject fled on foot.
The subject is a white man with dark hair. According to a police scanner, his bag, hat, and jacket are believed to have been recovered. Brooks says they are hopeful their officer, a 4-year veteran of the department, makes a full recovery. A federal vaccine advisory committee has voted to end a long-standing recommendation regarding the hepatitis B vaccine. KMOX health editor Fred Bottomer reports.
For decades, the government has advised that all babies be vaccinated against the liver infection right after birth. Now the recommendation is only to give the birth dose to babies whose mothers test Hep B positive and in cases where the mom wasn't tested. In all other cases, it'll be up to the parents and their doctors to decide if a birth dose is appropriate. FDA Commissioner Dr. Marty McCary.
Generally speaking, we are moving more towards letting people know the government is not your doctor. We do believe in a group of core essential vaccines, and the discussion on timing can be nuanced.
The committee voted 8-3 to suggest that when a family decides not to get a birth dose, then the vaccine series should begin when the child is 2 months old. Fred Bottomer, KMOX News.
My biggest concern is St. Louis. I mean, it's totally a train wreck.
Senate President Pro Tem Cindy O'Loughlin during a Senate hearing about school performance.
You know, when you have a situation like St. Louis, which is a train wreck and has been for, I mean, to me it seems like a long time, like forever maybe, then there has to be a way, if we can't, at the Department of Elementary and Secondary Education, if we can't say you have to change this, then it's not going to change.
State Education Commissioner Carla Elsinger said the legislation wants a more rigorous system to measure school performance, and the state is working directly with struggling schools to improve. And here's Roger Brand in the KMOX Traffic Center.
Well, Sean, we're doing pretty well to wrap it up for the evening. This traffic reports the service in McKelvey Homes. There's still some heavy traffic in the Richmond Heights area. Southbound 170 is backed up from Ladue to 64. Eastbound 64 approaching 170 to Big Bend is slow. Westbound 64, Hampton out to about Big Bend's heavy. There was an earlier eastbound crash that is why we're still in sort of heavy conditions in that area. Westbound 70 is just a little slow approaching 61 to Z. Westbound 64 out in St. Charles County is just slow approaching Prospect out to 70. North 270 north of Manchester up to Ladue, and the right lanes north of Dorset up to 70 are still a little slow there as well. Downtown and Illinois traffic has all thinned out. Just a little delay northbound on 255 approaching 5570. We had a crash earlier just north of there. I'm Roger Brand at the MichaelsFlooringOutlet.com Traffic Center.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Weather forecast tonight, some clouds and cold with lows of 29 degrees on Saturday. Partly sunny, highs of 38 Saturday night. Clouds developing a light freezing drizzle. Sleet and wet snow is possible after midnight, lows of 31 degrees. On Sunday, clouds and some flurries in the morning. It'll be windy with highs of 35 degrees. And Sunday night to wrap up the weekend, partly cloudy and very cold, lows of 15 degrees. I'm Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Come on, let's get going now.
From KMOX Sports.
We're primed and ready. All day, baby. Man, let's go.
This is the Gray Bar Sports Open Live. Gray Bar, your distributor for electrical and datacom needs. On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Here we go. We have arrived to a Friday. Welcome into the program. It is a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley. Great to have you with us today. If you want to chime in on anything that we're talking about, you can do so by calling or texting 314-436-7900. 314-436-7900. Again, that's how you call, that's how you text. You can tweet at me, at Matt Pauley on air, MattPauley on air. Or you can leave a comment on the video chat for those of you who are watching on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we can address some of those as we go along through the program. We've got a pretty busy show tonight. We are going to be joined by Patrick Daughtry from NBC Sports, covers the NFL. We'll talk with him coming up in about 10 minutes or so. 6:35, we're going to talk with our friend Scott Warman from FanDuel Sports Network Midwest. Of course, you also hear him here on KMOX, sometimes hosting this very show. We'll get some audio that we heard from Jim Montgomery, the team practice earlier today. His thoughts on where the team is at after just a really disappointing loss last night. And then our weekly Patrick Mahomes conversation that he does with our sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, and host Carrington Harrison. We'll run that tonight at about 7:35. So we've got a lot to get to between now and then. We've talked about it a lot. I will be leaving for Orlando tomorrow. The setup of the winter meetings takes place on Sunday, so we'll get all set up. We'll get all ready to go, and then things begin really earnestly on Monday. Monday and Tuesday are the busiest days that they have, and then Wednesday things start to slow down. You've got the Rule 5 draft and a few other things, but it's a little bit of a slower pace on Wednesdays. Things tear down and everything. And our first edition of the Cardinals Countdown to Opening Day show will be coming your way a week from yesterday, this Thursday, the first edition of that here on KMOX and, of course, across the Cardinals radio network. Mike Claiborne and myself hosting that show on an every week basis, and it's always a lot of fun to be able to do that show with him, and looking forward to another year of doing it. So that's going to start on Thursday, and we'll do that from Orlando. You never know who we might run into, who we might talk to. It's always a good time in Orlando as the entire baseball industry comes together. It's one of my, from a personal standpoint, it's one of my favorite things to be able to do every year, because in my, my baseball journey, which has been broadcasting in the minor leagues and then being around with the Brewers and then being around here with the Cardinals, I've met a lot of people. I've created a lot of friendships and things like that. And so many people that have been part of that journey I get to see once a year, and that one time a year is at the baseball winter meeting. So it's a really cool thing to be able to experience that and see people that you care for that you don't get to see all that often. And I enjoy that, and I enjoy being able to have good conversations that we then provide for you, both during Sports Open Line next week and also during the Countdown to Opening Day show. We'll be recording stuff and getting that ready to go. There'd been some conversations internally or behind the scenes about whether or not Chaim Bloom was going to be doing the same type of daily media interactions with the media that John Mozeliak did. and we got word today that indeed he would. So it's gonna work out really well because it's all tentative. It can certainly change, but Heim is scheduled to meet with the media Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday in Orlando at 5 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Central. So we'll go do that. We'll have that conversation, and then Rush Hour Sports, it gets going at 5 o'clock. So I'll be coming right out of the conversation with Heim and hopping immediately on for the for Rush Hour Sports. So looking forward to being able to do that and provide for you what was said. And that's one of the things. Generally, I can't speak for anybody else in the market right now, but generally speaking, every year that I have gone to the winter meetings, we have been the only radio station that has representation at the winter meetings. So if you want to actually hear Heim Bloom and what he has to say, this is going to be the one opportunity, the one place that you're actually going to be able to hear it. And we'll be providing that for you on just about an everyday basis during the run of the meetings. Kevin Wheeler and I were just talking about this as he walked out the door off the air, hoping for at least just one sizable move, at least one from the Cardinals. And from an industry-wide standpoint, I'm still, I can be talked to either side on if it's going to be a busy winter meetings. In recent years, and last year wasn't terrible, but basically in recent years, it's been really slow. It's been really, really slow. And with the CBA coming up and the probable lockout less than a year away, I don't really know how that is going to impact the pace of the market. I think right now we're seeing that the pace of the market is focused around pitching, where certainly relief pitching, we've seen a lot of top-tier relief pitchers go off the board. We're starting to see some other pitchers, some starters get moved, and that includes Sonny Gray and his trade. But from a position player standpoint, not a whole lot has happened at this point. There was the one trade that was made of notable things that have happened from a notable standpoint. You had the deal that the Mets and the Rangers made, and that certainly was a notable trade with what they were able to do. But for the most part, it has been it has not yet hit the position player spots. And I don't think Nolan Arenado's getting traded at the baseball winter meetings because there's so many other dominoes that have to fall down first before you can move an Arenado. Basically, Arenado is going to be a second or third option for a good number of teams that come up short with some of the other third basemen that are going to be available either as free agents or in trade. So all those other third basemen are essentially going to have to come off the board. And we played this game last year, right? Like we kept talking about the Bregman situation and waiting for Bregman to get signed to see what might happen with Arenado. And the two things weren't as related as we thought maybe they were, but also Arenado was traded to Houston and then he didn't take that deal. But I don't think Arenado is something that's going to happen in the near future. Maybe I'm wrong, and if I'm wrong, I'll tell you. But the other potential moves, the trading of a Brendan Donovan or a Lars Nootbaar or Nolan Gorman, any of those guys, I think it is a JoJo Romero, Wilson Contreras. I think it is distinctly possible that any one of those guys could get moved over the next few days as the winter meetings are going on. And just from a very selfish standpoint of wanting to have as much content as possible, I am personally hopeful that something does happen. So we've got something to talk about while we are in Orlando. We want to do a little bit more than just twiddling our thumbs over the course of 3-4 days. All right, we're going to take a break. And when we come back, we're going to talk NFL football as we are set to be joined by Patrick Daughtry. He covers the NFL for NBC Sports. He joins us in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You are locked to a Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
1993.
There when disaster hit.
June 27th, the Mississippi River rises above flood stage at St. Louis.
July 3rd, the Missouri River reaches flood stage for the second time and levees are starting to buckle.
This is Nan Wyatt in the KMOX Flood Center. Sandbaggers are still needed this afternoon.
Good morning, I'm Daryl Lloyd. We have a live update now from the KMOX Jetcopter 1, where Steve Shoemaker is flying over West Alton right now, the scene of a number of levee breaks recently. Steve?
There's a farmhouse I'm looking at and it's floating.
Those levees were never intended to protect against 49.6 feet.
We had the greatest natural disaster that's ever hit.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by the Polar Express at St. Louis Union Station. Get your tickets now at stlpolarexpressride.com.
What's up, Missouri? Tony Gonzalez here. Your moment is finally here because DraftKings Sportsbook is live in Missouri. You can get in on all the action with fast withdrawals, a safe and secure app, and betting that's easy to use anywhere you go. And the best part, DraftKings keeps the excitement going with awesome promos and offers all season long. That's why it's America's top-rated sportsbook app. Don't wait. New customers sign up today. Bet just $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. Let's go, Missouri. Get in the game.
Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app and use code THELOU. New Missouri customers bet $5 and get $300 in bonus bets instantly. That's code THELOU in partnership with DraftKings Sportsbook. The crown is yours. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. 21 and over. Physically present in Missouri. Eligibility and restrictions apply. Terms at DraftKings.com/sportsbook. Bonus bets expire 7 days after issuance. For additional terms and responsible gaming resources, see sportsbook.draftkings.com/promos.
Taking care of your health should be simple. And with the NeoVitan monthly subscription, it finally is. Choose your doctor-formulated multivitamin and we'll deliver it straight to your door every month. No more running out, no more remembering to reorder, just consistent nutrition made easy. Plus, subscribers save 10% every month and can pause or cancel at any time. Visit neovitan.com and start your subscription today. NeoVitan, trusted nutrition every day.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Wesley Financial Group is not a law firm, and Chuck McDowell, definitely not an attorney. This is Chuck. Do you feel stupid for buying a timeshare? Don't. It's not your fault. You were most likely told you could rent it, and it was a great financial investment. And the deal was available today only. If this happened to you, contact your resort or Wesley Financial Group for help today.
Call Wesley now for your free exit information kit. 800-242-3131. 800-242-3131.
Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
If you're trying to sell a home, there's only one agent in town that I trust, Mark and Neil Gelman of eXp Realty. My friends Mark and Neil have the best system to connect you to the best qualified buyers, getting your home sold fast and for top dollar. 314-336-1991. Go to thegelmanteam.com.
This is Senator Eric Schmidt congratulating KMOX and its 50,000 red-hot watts on 100 years on the air in St. Louis.
Back at it on KMOX, it is a Graybar Sports Open Line. Glad to have you with us. Again, we are going to be broadcasting the show from Orlando starting on Monday for baseball's winter meetings. Right now, we're going to talk a little bit of football. Entertaining game last night on Thursday Night Football with the Lions holding off the Cowboys in a high-scoring game. And then there is just a ton of really meaningful, compelling games that are going to be going on coming up on Sunday. To talk about that and more, we're very happy to welcome in a guy who is an NFL writer for NBC Sports. He's local here to St. Louis. Patrick Daugherty joins us on the program right now. You follow him on Twitter at RotoPat. Pat, thanks for taking some time. How are you?
Truly, always my pleasure. I'm here to talk about the football, and I will be listening very closely next week as you guys talk about, which Cardinals might even remain on the team. following the winter meetings, because I'm expecting and hoping for an active week for Heim and company.
Okay, so we'll get to football in a second. Is there any Cardinal that has been rumored to get moved that you would rather them not move?
Well, so I'm a father now, and this is the first time I've ever had to worry about my kids like being sad or upset that someone has traded away. Like Brendan Donovan is probably the Cardinals' best trade chip. I'm not breaking any news here. It would upset my son. He has the Brendan Donovan bobblehead. He also has a Lars bobblehead. And like it'll be the first time I'm gonna have to explain. It's a business. Like we love the team, but because me. I don't ever want the Cardinals to have to tear down and rebuild, but I know that they have to do it this time. So I'm like, trade them all. But explaining it to my son will not be as fun as reading and listening to the analysis of the moves.
That's a real thing. Like when Albert Pujols left to go to the Angels, there was a lot of tears from young Cardinal fans at that point. That's a real thing.
It is, yeah. I was 25, and I'm thankful I didn't have to have my dad explain that to me at that point, but I almost did because that one felt personal too.
I'm sure you cried a little bit.
Almost. The Cardinals almost made me cry a few times growing up. I did not cry at Pujols leaving town. The 2004 NLCS, the Cardinals eventually won, may have almost brought me to tears when Jason Isringhausen blew a save in Houston, but that is neither here nor there.
Admittedly, I had a couple Kool-Aids, but I was brought to tears in Game 6 with David Freese.
Yeah, it was the 04 and 05 were that whole era. There were a lot of emotional roller coaster moments there.
Okay.
Most of them good, but not all of them.
Not all of them. All right, let's jump into this slate of games coming up this week. It is remarkable how many games here in week number 14 have serious playoff implications. It started last night with the Cowboys and the Lions, and then this slate this weekend is really, really good.
It is loaded, and it's the first year, I feel like, since they expanded the playoff field to 14 teams that we're actually going to maybe get some good teams left out as instead of, forcing some bad teams in because I can't remember if this is the third or fourth season of the 7-team slate in each conference, but the 7th seed has really kind of been a sacrificial lamb almost every year. And, that's going to be the case more often than not. But a lot of years, the 7th seed, it just the talk has kind of been, the NFL did not need to expand this playoff field. And I think you can maybe still credibly argue that. But this year, the Chiefs could get let out, of course. The Dallas Cowboys, say what you will about the Cowboys, they honestly looked like a playoff team the past 5 or 6 weeks. The Chiefs beat the Texans. The Texans are on the ropes this weekend. And there's just going to be several good teams, not just one or two, I feel like, actually left out of the playoff field. So it's my long way of saying it's exciting, actually, to have these games really, really mean something here in weeks 14 and 15 and down the stretch.
I feel like the Cowboys did this to themselves because it's defense that's let them down. And, oh, yeah, by the way, they kind of let a guy named Micah Parsons walk out the door before the season got started.
They did, and, they tried to shore it up and kind of went a long way towards shoring it up at the trade deadline. The problem is those games before the trade deadline counted. And, even with a good defense, you're going to have games like you go into Ford Field, the Lions Dome, the Fast Track, where you're just going to have a bad night. You're going to allow 40 points. Like that could happen even to a good defense, a solid defense. The problem is all the games where the Cowboys defense just wasn't competitive because of the lack of personnel, like you said, for the trade deadline. So it's a lot more respectable unit now, but just kind of too little, too late, and very frustrating. If you watch the Cowboys as a Cowboys fan, I'm not a Cowboys fan. For the record, do not say on the radio I'm a Cowboys fan. But if you watch the Cowboys as a fan, you have to be feeling very frustrated because the 53 players they have now, that looks like a playoff roster. The problem is that was not the case before the trade deadline.
So when we look at the Chiefs specifically, here they are sitting as a 500 club. There's a good chance that they have to win out to be a playoff club. They're probably going to be favored in every single game from here to the end of the season, especially if they keep winning games. If they lose a couple, then maybe they're not favored against the Broncos late. But if they win and win and win, they'll probably be favored in every game. What do you think the chances are that this team does win out and does sneak into the postseason?
I still put it at over 50%, but this weekend might honestly be the key game because maybe I'm a Missouri homer. I think the Chiefs are probably a better team than the Broncos, but I think the division's just out of reach at this point. So they're going to have to sneak in as the wild card, kind of unthinkable during the Mahomes era. But so not only they just need to win out for the raw victory totals, but they got to beat the Texans for the head-to-head tiebreaker. Like this might be the biggest game of the Chiefs season. They could come down to like a win and in game that will technically be bigger, but that it might be because of what happens in this game. To me, this is the critical game remaining on the Chiefs' schedule because the Chargers are just in a really weakened state. And I think it's the Titans. I'm looking at their schedule right now. Then it's the Broncos. That'll be a huge one, of course. Then the Raiders. That'll be a gimme in Week 18. But this one, especially at home against a team, they're going to be fighting for one of those wild card spots. They have to win this game against the Texans.
Bears and Packers match up this weekend. Bears are 9-3. Packers are 8-3-1. Lions apply a little bit of pressure by winning their 8th game yesterday. You have to wonder if that tie is going to come back to either help or hurt the Packers at some point in time. But that division is just so tough with those top 3 teams.
It is, and talk about a telling game because I think the Bears are 8-1 over their past 9 games. And until last week against the Eagles, so the first thing a good team does, of course, is beat bad teams. So you can't really take like the easy wins, quote unquote, away from the Bears. But they didn't really have like a signature win or like even really an impressive win during that streak until going into Philadelphia. The Eagles, of course, having their own issues. That was a really big win for the Bears. So it's good that they got this one big signature win right now, but doing it the Packers with all the implications, divisional wild card, to be a biggest game in recent Bears memory. And I'm fascinated to see how they perform because the Eagles game, that was great, but Caleb Williams still not playing like particularly well. They're kind of trying to hide him, still struggling with his accuracy. He's actually, I think, completed under 60% of his passes in like 5 or 6 straight starts. So the Bears, despite playing very well the past 2 months, I would consider them a team very much on the spot this weekend.
All right, so I might just be an idiot. That can be true very often in my life. But I look at the 2 games where 2 teams are matched up against each other with first place on the line in the division, with the Colts and Jaguars, each team is 8-4, and the Steelers and Ravens, each team at 6-6. I don't think either the Colts or Jaguars are any good, and I think both the Steelers and Ravens are good. And they've got it's the Steelers and Ravens who have the worst record between the 2. So comment on my take on comparing those 2 games.
Well, I would say none of the 4 are aesthetically pleasing as one problem, especially the Jaguars. They're 8-4, but you watch the Jags, and it's kind of like, I don't really understand how they keep winning these games, but they do. The Colts were kind of winning with style earlier in the season, but Daniel Jones has kind of regressed to his career mean in terms of turnovers. He's always been kind of a turnover machine, not so much the interceptions, but a really bad fumbler. He's playing through a really significant leg injury. They've been a much tougher watch. And the Ravens are the team of the 4 that are the most shocking because I'm not surprised the Steelers are a tough watch. But the Ravens, I'm expecting a rock fight between the Ravens and the Steelers, which we get sometimes between those 2 teams, but if there's a team that's going to open up, it's usually the Ravens. But I think Lamar Jackson is just too hurt. He's 3 straight starts, not a single touchdown for Lamar, which talk about inconceivable for a guy with his dual threat. And I actually think there's a little more juice in that Colts-Jaguars game. But I don't fault anyone for not thinking that because I think they're probably 2 better teams at this point, but they're not very fun to watch.
Lamar Jackson has no injury designation after having a full practice on Friday. But it was the first time this year where he always doesn't practice on Wednesday, but he didn't miss practice Wednesday and Thursday this week. You mentioned that he's banged up. It really feels like they're just trying to kind of drag him into these games.
They are, and even before, like the big injury that actually cost him time was the hamstring. Even before that, I frankly think he was playing hurt because I think that was the Chiefs game where he got hurt, where I was seeing him tackled from behind by linebackers, which I just quite literally had never seen during Lamar Jackson's career. And I don't know if he just hasn't been right maybe since the summer, or there's been a surgery he's putting off or something. They're giving him like almost a different body part every week. Like one week they'll say it's his knee. The next day it's his ankle. Like I said, it was the hamstring that actually cost him time. But the bottom line is he just doesn't even, not only is he not healthy, he doesn't even appear remotely close to full health. And Lamar is a good passer, but what makes Lamar a special player is the dual threat. And when he doesn't have that dual threat, which he just doesn't appear to have right now, makes him a totally different player, and it just makes the Ravens a completely different team.
Okay, what I'm about to ask you, literally nobody might care about, but you just said something. I look at injury reports on an almost everyday basis for a bunch of teams in the NFL, and I have never seen in my life, and maybe I'm just a prisoner of the moment and it's always been like this, it seems like so many more injured guys are being listed with multiple injuries. Like somebody's, limited in practice because of a knee and an elbow. Like it in the past, it's always been one thing. This year, there's just a gaggle of guys who are listed with multiple parts on their body that are not right.
I don't think it's the players are any more injured. It's that I think the teams are just trying to be as transparent as possible, like more transparent than ever, because they don't want a situation like baseball has with Emmanuel Clase and the Guardians, and they don't want it to come out later like, oh yeah, because it does come out occasionally in the NFL, like, oh yeah, he needed ankle surgery all year, but it wasn't affecting his practice status, so we didn't list him with the ankle. And by week 14 of the NFL season, almost every player probably has 2 or 3 things that are bothering them. So I don't necessarily think it's the players are any more hurt. I think it's the NFL, trying to stay one step ahead of what might be an inevitable gambling scandal, and just, maybe lightly encouraging the teams, quote unquote, to be as transparent as possible with these injury listings.
You work in the fantasy space, and that's different than sports gambling, but they're certainly cousins in some ways. And we just had sports gambling go live in Missouri here this week. In what you do, how much does that intersect, and what do you see in terms of the influence of sports gambling?
Well, not all of it's great, of course. Some of it does. Some of it has been useful to fantasy football because it does lend itself to a good tiebreaker always in fantasy football is what's the game environment going to be like? And maybe 10 years ago, there were people following the spreads very closely. Not maybe, there were, but not nearly as many people. Whereas now this week, even as someone who does not consider myself a gambler, I do not plan to be placing many bets, even in now legal Missouri. I know the spread for every game. I know the game total for every game. And that's kind of a good shorthand for what kind of game environment is going to be like. Bills-Bengals has one of the highest game totals of the entire year. If you're making lineup decisions, use a tiebreaker in favor of getting a Bill in there, getting a Bengal in there. And a lot of it just corresponds, of course, with common sense. Those are 2 explosive offenses. But I would say that's maybe, I'm sure a lot of negative ways that they're intersecting, but a positive way is just kind of creating like an understandable shorthand, I would say, for the common fan.
Patrick Daugherty, he is on Twitter at RotoPat, covers the NFL, covers fantasy for NBC Sports. He is a St. Louisan. We love being able to talk to him. Thank you so much for taking the time. I'm sure we'll check in again down the line.
Truly always my pleasure, and I'll be listening next week for your Cardinals report.
Awesome. Very good. I appreciate that. Patrick Daugherty joining us on the program. We appreciate him being with us. We'll take a break. When we return, our good friend Scott Warman is going to join us. We'll talk Blues and Cardinals with him. That's next. It's a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
This holiday, give the gift that lasts all season long. Cardinals ticket packs are on sale now, starting at 5, 6, and 10 games. All packs include 2026's top games and favorite giveaways. Backed by popular demand, choose from the opening day pack or the bobblehead pack. Check out the Cubs pack, weekend pack, or apparel pack. There's a pack for everyone. Find your perfect gift right now at cardinals.com/tickets.
The holidays come and go, but Cardinals baseball lasts all season long. This year, give the gift of all-inclusive tickets, featuring a full buffet, complimentary bar, and unbeatable views at Busch Stadium. Enjoy great food, good times, and every moment of the action. Choose your experience in the Budweiser 703 Club, UMB Champions Club, Coca-Cola Scoreboard Patio, and more. Make your holidays brighter with all-inclusive tickets. On sale now at cardinals.com/tickets.
The holidays are here, filled with laughter, family, and memories. But if you're missing the punchline, the conversation, or even the music, it might be time to check your hearing. Hi, I'm Charlie Brennan.
I'm Dr. Bosler with the Audiology Center.
And I'm Dr. Voss. This season, we want you to hear every moment.
Hearing aids today can process sound faster than before. They're smarter at separating the speech from the background noise, meaning that when you're at the holiday parties this season, you'll hear the voices that you want to hear, clearer than before.
So don't wait until the new year. Give yourself the gift of better hearing today and reconnect with the people and the moments that matter most.
Call the Audiology Center, 636-441-7470, or online, theaudiologycenterstl.com. 3 convenient locations.
Call us today and make this holiday season better than last year's. Here for the holidays, here for life.
Tom Ackerman here for Busey Bank, recognizing the Guardian Angel Settlement Association as a building community partner. Guardian Angel serves under-resourced community members, helping them take the first step on the path to possible. They assist over 5,000 individuals in our community through their early childhood education and social stability programs. To learn more about Guardian Angel, Google Guardian Angel STL. Busey Bank encourages you to get involved. Together, we can build community.
This is Pat Buring, Executive Vice President at Busey Bank. At Busey, community and giving back are at the heart of everything we do. We're more than a bank. We're your neighbors and your partners. We take pride in engaging with the communities we serve and building lasting relationships because our commitment to strengthening our communities is a top priority. Whether you're shopping local or giving back through volunteerism, every little bit counts. Join us at Busey Bank as we continue building the communities we call home.
Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling, a Daikin comfort dealer. The Saliga family's been taking great care of St. Louis since 1927 and still have the best and most trustworthy customer service in town. Saliga can handle all of your heating and air conditioning needs for home or business. They offer free estimates and financing options, and they won't leave you hanging if there's an emergency. The Miklasz family's been calling on Saliga for more than 15 years, and we fully appreciate their knowledge, their class, and their integrity. Saliga's never tried to pressure us. They always take the time to discuss all the available options, including low-cost solutions. Saliga has saved us good money with their Priority Club maintenance program, which extends the life of our equipment. Members receive priority service and the peace of mind in knowing their home will be safe and comfortable during all 4 seasons. The Miklasz family truly values Saliga Heating and Cooling, and you will too. For more information, call Saliga at 314-481-7333 or visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
Blues fans, it's Peanuts Night at Enterprise Center. On December 17th, the St. Louis Blues face off against the Winnipeg Jets. And with a special theme ticket purchase, you'll take home an exclusive bobblehead featuring Snoopy driving a Zamboni and Woodstock along for the ride. It's the perfect collectible for hockey and Peanuts fans alike, celebrating Snoopy's winter spirits and love for the game. Don't miss a night of hockey, nostalgia, and fun for the whole family. Get your tickets now at stlouisblues.com/promotions.
Sunday night, the Chiefs are back in action at Arrowhead as they host the Texans.
Sightman Cancer Center game time 6 p.m. Sightman Cancer Center, national leaders in cancer.
The Chiefs, the Texans, on your home for Chiefs football. 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX as we continue to take you throughout the course of this Friday evening. Very happy to welcome back onto the show. He's our good friend, Scott Warman. Of course, you hear him sometimes here on KMOX. You see him a lot on FanDuel Sports Network Midwest on the desk for Blues games and Cardinals games. He joins us right now. Scott, how are you?
I'm doing well, buddy. How are you?
I'm all right. Let's start by talking about the Blues, and unfortunately...
Oh, man. Thanks a lot.
Yep, that's what we're going to lead with. That's where we're at.
What a shocker.
The exact same things being said after the game last night, questioning the team's energy and effort and things like that. What is it going to take for this team to get past that?
It's amazing. And I hate to kind of maybe bore some people, but we've known each other, 20-some-odd years when you were intern at KFNS. And, I did the Rams broadcast pre- and post-game. And this is when the Rams were starting their downslide after the greatest show on turf. And there was a conversation during one of our post games about effort. And this is something I learned doing this for a while. And the next week over at Rams Park, I was kind of being taken to the side to the quote unquote principal's office going, you can't question people's effort. I'm like, okay, well, it was just kind of a conversation. Things don't look good, blah, 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 blah. And I'm hearing this. I'm like, okay, so this is one of the things I'm learning, correct? Mm-hmm. So you try not to put yourself into a professional athlete's shoes, much less I don't want to put myself into someone else in their profession because I don't know if you're a electrician or whatever. I don't know any of that stuff. So with all that being said, you just kind of say, well, things don't look good, what have you. My point of this is when you have your own coach mentioning this for, I don't know, second, third, whatever time, that's really concerning when we're, almost 30 games into the season. And learning from that, what I did back with the Rams, and you don't even have to mention it in the postgame show because the coaches mention it, there has to be something I would hope internally from a team standpoint, and I'm specifically talking about the players, they have to have what we would call a come to Jesus meeting, as I would say. Something has got to happen here because as I've relayed to other people, because obviously, as you know, Maddie, I'm sure you get this conversation with people you run into around town, just like I do. It's like this team was arguably, if not the best, one of the best teams after the Four Nations tournament. And you're 2.2 seconds away from eliminating one of the best teams in the NHL and going to the second round. So my point is to that is the fact that there obviously is there an ability there to play at a high level. And for the most part, why we have not seen it from this group, again, to start, the third season in a row in such a slow, methodical fashion, absolutely shocks me. I mean, it's really, I'm really amazed by it. I wish I could put my finger on it and tell, even the Blues why this is going on. I don't know why, but you talk about this core group, Maddie, that has been around. Jim Montgomery's not going anywhere this time. And am I insinuating that Doug Armstrong's going to make trades? No. There's a lot of rumors out there that maybe Army might be going out and trying to deal maybe some of these guys to shake things up. I think that's harder to do with the situation you have with some of the contracts that some of these quote-unquote core players. But, again, I go back to me, this team, I hope Braden Shin and the leadership group bring everybody together and go, look, we can't have performances like we saw in Boston and we've seen in previous weeks with, several different teams over this last, 2+ months of the season. I was really pumped up for this season, and I still find hope just because there's so much parity in the league. But it has been, I'm just like a fan too, Maddie, and I don't know how you feel about this, but this truly has been very disappointing how this season has started out with this hockey team. And I'm still a believer that they're a lot better than what we've seen up to this point, unfortunately.
Yeah, I agree with that. And they're not even buried in the standings. They're 4 points out of a playoff spot, which is remarkable. The startling things for me, the two things is some of the things we're hearing from Jim Montgomery, we heard from Drew Bannister, we heard from Craig Berube at the end of his tenure, so it's a lot more of just kind of the same thing. And then like a game like yesterday, that's Montgomery going back against his former team. And generally in situations like that, your team has that extra step as they want to get that win for their coach. Or if a player goes back and faces his former team, his teammates want to get that win for that player. And we didn't see that against Boston, and to me, that's notable.
And it's a great point, Matt. I mean, an excellent point that you bring up. And to me, not only from that standpoint, but I think what you have seen from the standpoint of, even if you just look at last night's game, the just complete breakdowns from a defensive standpoint. Now, I'll say this, and I've said this on our air, I've said on KMOX, much less saying on FanDuel, is the fact that, first month of the season was not good, whether it's Jordan Binnington or Joel Hofer. And I think those guys will be up front and say they were disappointed in their play. But they've turned things around. You even look at the numbers, and the numbers have been improving immensely for both of those guys, both individually, but as a team, goaltending aspect, save percentage way up, goals against way up. And just if you look at last night's game, there was at least 3 goals. And I'll just say at least 3 of those 5 goals by Boston, Binnington didn't have a chance. And the complete breakdowns of your defense. And it's not just, guys in the blue line, but you can also point to that. But you also have to have guys in the forward line back checking in, helping out. And as I always say, you have to have connectivity. You have to be connected. And the Blues just seem, for whatever reason, you didn't have that many changes over the offseason. You just haven't had that. You just doesn't, more nights than not, you just don't see a connection there with this hockey team. And you go to the second goal last night. I know it's been pointed out. I know Andy and Jamie pointed out on our post-game show last night, is the fact that you got 2 guys, the 2 defensemen that are below the red line trying to check off one player, and he wins that puck battle, and that's hence why you wind up with the second goal eventually for the Boston Bruins. Well, these are not new guys. Parayko's been around forever. Broberg's around here for 2 years, and Broberg's probably arguably our best defenseman that we've had consistently so far early in the season. And it's just like, where's the communication? Where's the connection here? And that's just one of many examples that we can throw out there. So it's if you're against the goaltending here in the last month plus, I'm sorry, I have to defend the goaltending, and I have to say that it's the guys in front of them that have to make better plays. And even I know I was pointing out Matthew DeFrank, so I think is really doing a nice job covering the Blues for the Post-Dispatch. And Matthew pointed out in his story today that one of the goals started because one of our forwards didn't chip the puck all the way deep into the other end. And when they didn't get that deep puck, well, then you've got a team in transition like Boston, and then boom, next thing you know, the puck's in the net. Well, these are the little things that can be, magnified, and you have to magnify them when your team is losing like this. The other point, to get back to what you just said, I just thought about while we're talking here, Maddie, is the fact that you had Pasternak and McAvoy and Swayman, their number one goaltender, that weren't even on the ice last night. So that's another thing that just, it kind of puts, unfortunately, more pain into Blues fans and I'm sure Blues management as well in the outcome of last night's game.
We're talking with Scott Warman, FanDuel Sports Network Midwest. Let's jump over to the Cardinals for just a moment before we get you out of here. Winter meetings opening up Sunday, Monday is when things are going to get started in Orlando. We've already seen one big move made with Sonny Gray being traded. What are your expectations about what this offseason is going to continue to look like for the Cardinals, and how drastically do you want to see this team make these changes in an effort to bring in more young prospect talent?
Yeah, I think, Maddie, what you're seeing is just the tip of the iceberg for Chaim Bloom. Now, I think Chaim has been around the block, and so it's not like this is his first rodeo, so he knows a lot of people, so he's not going to get railroaded more than likely as far as the deal is concerned. But I expect, as I mentioned with Amy and Chris, that I thought the Gray deal was probably the first domino to fall. And I would surmise you probably feel the same way.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing is I know that a lot of people, and I love Brendan Donovan as well, but, is Donnie want to be on a winning baseball team? And there's a lot of interest in Brendan Donovan. And what can you get? Can you get a haul for a guy like Brendan Donovan? Well, at this stage of where you're at, where you're basically in this rebuild, retool, I think that you definitely have to look at that. But I think the main focus and the top of conversation, I'm sure you've had this with Wheels and everybody else, Bernie, is the fact that, Nolan Arenado's a guy that's sticking out there that, is willing to expand his horizons to be dealt. I think the Cardinals want to deal him, but I think the biggest thing is that's going to be a more difficult trade for Chaim Bloom to make more than anything else. Sure, it's easy. Hey, let's make a trade, but there's a big financial situation there. And the one surprise I had, Maddie, when I spoke to Chris and Amy about this, was the fact that the amount of money that the Cardinals also gave the Red Sox to make that move was opened my eyes. And I'm sure they're not dumb. They realize they're going to have to eat a lot of that Nolan Arenado contract in order for Nolan to move to another team. How much? I think that's going to be interesting. And I think anybody out there is, reasonable, has to realize that unfortunately Nolan, as great of a third baseman as he is, his offensive skills sadly have deteriorated. So you're not going to get a whole heck of a lot. Now, what that looks like, I don't know. And again, Chaim Bloom's been there. He realizes that. But I hope Cardinal fans, Matt, also realize that you're not going to get a heist for a guy like Nolan Arenado. A prospect or two is probably at best what you're going to get. But that to me is probably going to be the most difficult trade that the Cardinals are going to have to make, because the other thing, and I was just talking to somebody about this, they were asking me about J.J. Weatherholt, who I firmly believe will be with this team on opening day against Tampa at the end of March, is Weatherholt probably more than likely is a second baseman. So with that being said, that would also tell me, if that's the case, that, Brendan Donovan would be a guy that you either have to put somewhere else or Matt, you have to deal him. And I think probably letting go of one of your great players, again, at this stage where this organization is at, is probably the smartest move for this team moving forward, because as Chaim has mentioned to you, and I know he's mentioned to several different other outlets, is the fact that they want to try to get this thing fixed as quickly as possible. But it's still, we're talking 2-3 years down the line before you can be a formidable opponent, barring some unforeseen circumstances with this team.
You see Scott Warman on FanDuel Sports Network Midwest at the desk, Blues Cardinals broadcast. You hear him occasionally right here on KMOX, sometimes even hosting this show. Scott, we really appreciate you. If I don't talk to you before Christmas, have a Merry Christmas, and we'll see you very soon.
You too, Betty. Thanks, bud.
That is Scott Warman joining us here on the program. We appreciate him taking a few moments with us. We'll take a break. We'll come back, wrap up hour number 1 of the program. It's Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Bet the game day action right from your phone. Download the Caesars Sportsbook app now. Use code RADIOMO. Place your first bet of $5 or more and get $150 in bonus bets if you win. Open to new users in Missouri who are 21 or older. First wager after registration must qualify and win. And bonus bets expire 30 days after receipt. See Caesars.com/promotions or the options tab on the app for full terms. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
KMOX welcomes Trans-Siberian Orchestra and their monumental tour, The Ghosts of Christmas Eve, to Enterprise Center December 23rd at 3 p.m. Tickets are on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. A portion of the proceeds benefits Siteman Kids at St. Louis Children's Hospital. TSO, timeless and everlasting. Don't miss the Trans-Siberian Orchestra, The Lost Christmas Eve, produced by Live Nation. For more details, KMOX.com/events.
Glover here for my friends at Cantor Injury Law. Cantor is local, and we're here doing the work every day. We're right here in St. Louis, and we're ready to fight for you. CantorInjuryLaw.com or call 314-628-9999.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be solely based on advertisements.
My name is Whitney Allen. I am a widow. My husband, Ryan, died. We never thought in a million years we'd have to use life insurance. The unexpected happened. With Ethos, it is so fast and easy. It's 100% online. You can get a quote in seconds, apply in minutes, and get same-day coverage, no medical exams, and you can get up to $3 million worth of coverage through Ethos.
Get your free quote at ethos.com/radio. That's ethos.com/radio.
Time spent on application may vary. Online health questions required.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. This Cyber Monday, enjoy exclusive savings on our high-quality rechargeable hearing aids. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and shop Cyber Monday deals before they're gone at audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
All right, Missouri, it's finally happening. I've been talking to you about it for a long time now. FanDuel Sportsbook is live and ready to roll here in the Show Me State. I'm fired up. And they're celebrating, by the way, with a little something for everybody. All this week, every customer gets a no-sweat bet every day. So no matter what you're betting on, if it doesn't hit, you'll get bonus bets back to keep the action going. So it doesn't matter if it's football, basketball, hockey, or whatever you're into, you can bet it all on an app that's safe, secure, and built for every kind of fan. I can tell you this, it's definitely built for me. I've been using them for years. The interface is quick, the payouts are fast, and the experience is top level. So download FanDuel or visit FanDuel.com/Missouri to get started. It's the FanDuel Sportsbook app, now live in Missouri, and of course the official sportsbook of KMOX. 21 and older and present in Missouri. To play. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Opt-in required each day. Refund issued as non-withdrawable bonus bets that expire 7 days after receipt. Max refund $20. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com.
You've got your whole life ahead of you, so choose a Medicare plan you can count on. And that's what you get with a Medicare Advantage plan from United Healthcare. With more than 45 years' experience serving its members, United Healthcare has plans with low monthly premiums that fit your life today and as your needs change tomorrow. The Medicare annual enrollment period ends December 7th, so go to uhc.com/Medicare today. United Healthcare Medicare plans. It's Medicare coverage Missouri can count on.
Welcome back to the Graybar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Just a couple minutes left here in hour number 1 of the program. In hour number 2, we'll hear some of what Jim Montgomery said to the media earlier today as they practiced on the road. We'll also hear from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, his weekly conversation. Something happened today. I always like pause before I start talking about these things because I'm not the expert here. But John Hackworth, who had done a really nice job doing a lot of different things at City SC, it was announced today that he's leaving the organization, leaving the club, and he's going to go become the next head coach for the men's soccer team at the United States Naval Academy. First off, I love service academies. I worked at Air Force for a really long time. It's a very cool thing to be able to work at a service academy, and I'm excited for John Hackworth that he is going to be able to experience what it's like to work at a service academy. That being said, to me, that's a step down. That's a step back. I don't think that's a lateral move. I think that's a backwards move. And maybe he did not have anything guaranteed with City under Corey Ray, and basically had already been told that, and they gave him the opportunity to go pursue another job, so it didn't look like a situation where he was being let go. I don't know any of the inner workings, but I lament something. I lament the fact that after John Hackworth did an incredible job as the interim coach after Bradley Carnell was let go, that they did not hire him to the full-time role, and they went with Olaf Melberg instead. And then I lament a little bit, not quite as much, that they went with David Critchley over him when they had him the second opportunity. I think Critchley did a fine job. So I'm not quite as passionate on that one. But I would have loved to have seen where this organization would be sitting right now if Hackworth would have been given the opportunity instead of Olaf Melberg. I think he earned that opportunity, and they didn't give it to him. And then they don't give him the technical director job. I don't know if he was even interested in that. It'd be interesting to me if he could hop in the DeLorean, go back and make him the head coach instead of Olaf Melberg and see where things are right now. Maybe they'd be exactly the same. I don't know, but I'm sorry to see John Hackworth leave City SC for sure. It's a Graybar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Time now for today's Spotlight on Tech, sponsored by Consumer Cellular. Video game spending jumped last month thanks to strong demand for Nintendo's Switch 2. Industry tracker NPD Group says that U.S. video game spending rose 10% year over year to $4.8 billion, with console sales jumping 24% on Switch 2 demand, with Nintendo forecasting 19 million Switch 2 sales this year. Content spending rose 11%, with Borderlands 4 the top-selling game. I'm Jason Brooks.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for auto pay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Neil Forever performs Neil Diamond live in concert at the Factory in Chesterfield on Friday, January 9th.
It's fantastic.
Friday, January 9th, Neil Forever performing all the hits of Neil Diamond at the Factory.
He is a great performer.
He's amazing.
Sounds just like Neil.
Rock and roll, we get on board. Tickets at Ticketmaster.com.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. This holiday season, you can be the reason children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach milestones once thought impossible. Your gift provides life-saving care to those who need it most. Please donate today at treeofhope.org and be the reason a child has hope for tomorrow.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-9834. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-9834. That's 800-575-9834. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
News, talk, cards. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
This is CBS News on the Hour, sponsored by Steel.
I'm Jennifer Kuiper. The Supreme Court agrees to review President Trump's bid to end birthright citizenship, which automatically grants it to anyone born in the U.S. CBS News legal contributor Jessica Levinson.
The question now is whether or not the president can, by executive order, undermine that understanding. The Supreme Court's going to take up this case. I think this was always destined for the court. And I'm going to go out on a limb and say I think this is maybe 8-1, 7-2 that no, the president cannot do this.
The Congressional Progressive Caucus is calling for an investigation into Arizona Democratic Congresswoman Adelita Grijalva's claims that she was pepper sprayed by ICE agents while grabbing lunch today in Tucson.
You guys need to clear now.
The Congresswoman says she identified herself.
I was here. This is like the restaurant I come to literally once a week, and was sprayed in the face by a very aggressive agent.
A Department of Homeland Security spokesperson says Grijalva was not pepper sprayed, but was in the vicinity of someone who was struck. The CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel has voted to stop recommending newborns get their first dose of the hepatitis B vaccine within 24 hours of birth. CBS News chief medical correspondent Dr. John LaPook.
I think the point is made by a lot of people I've spoken to is you don't handicap the advice because you're afraid that people won't follow it because of their individual preferences. You give the best possible advice, and that's your advice. And then after that, if people want to make their own informed choices, then you go for it.
Netflix agrees to acquire the studio and streaming assets of Warner Brothers Discovery. KCBS's Matt Bigler with reaction from some subscribers.
The $72 billion deal could see iconic movie franchises like Batman and Harry Potter moving under the Netflix umbrella.
You're a wizard, Harry.
I'm a what? People might appreciate the package if it's available to them. There's a lot of fans out there.
How much would you be willing to pay for all of these in one place?
No more than 20.
But other Netflix subscribers worry that streaming will soon cost just as much as cable.
And I canceled my cable because I wasn't willing to pay.
The Warner Brothers Discovery buyout is expected to face possible antitrust scrutiny. Matt Bigler for CBS News, Los Gatos, California.
FIFA's president, during today's World Cup draw at the Kennedy Center, has awarded the group's new Peace Prize to President Trump for his efforts to broker a ceasefire in Gaza. The president responding,
I just want to thank everybody. The world is a safer place now. The United States 1 year ago was not doing too well, and now I have to say we're the hottest country anywhere in the world, and we're going to keep it that way.
This is CBS News.
Check off the wish list with instant savings and free battery offers on select Steel tools. Shop online at steelusa.com or in-store.
With 33 degrees and partly cloudy skies downtown at the Arch, I'm Sean Malone. The search continues for a man accused of shooting a Granite City police officer. According to Police Chief Gary Brooks, the officers were called to the 2000 block of Johnson for an unwanted individual.
Immediately upon arrival, they encountered a subject who began firing shots at our officers, and then the subject fled on foot.
One officer was struck multiple times, according to Brooks, but says they are hopeful he will make a full recovery. The suspect is considered to be armed and dangerous. This week, we found out Waymo, a driverless taxi service, is in St. Louis. Right now, there are drivers, but the goal is to eliminate the driver. KMOX auto expert Greg Damon has concerns.
What happens when it's snowing? What happens when it's raining? What happens when it's dark and these sensors can't pick up the lines on the road?
Damon also points out the infrastructure isn't there yet to go very far with an electric vehicle without having to stop and charge it up. There's no way to balance the St. Louis County budget in 1 year without shutting down almost half the county government. That's what Councilman Mark Carter tells KMOX. What about the calls to use the Rams settlement money?
The balance of that fund right now is about $50 or $58 million. So that wouldn't even plug the gap for 1 year. That's our only savings plan right now. So we are saving that in arrears so that we can use that for, one-time investments.
He says the budget problems didn't happen overnight. It's been building up over years as revenues declined and spending went up. Missouri continues its crackdown on illegal robocallers.
So far, the state has gotten more than 30 voice providers to stop making fraudulent robocalls. In phase 2 of the operation, the Attorney General is going after 4 companies that continue to make hundreds of thousands of them. Intelliquent, Bandwidth, Peerless, and Lumen have been tracked over and over to illegal campaigns where the calls impersonate companies like Amazon, Apple, also the Social Security Administration and the IRS. People can report fraud calls at ago.mo.gov. Scott Jagal, KMOX News.
If you're looking for some holiday entertainment, the 13th annual Heartland Community Chorus Christmas Concert is next Saturday and Sunday. That's the 13th and the 14th. At St. Paul Church in Highland. This year, featured performers from the Gateway Ringers Handbell Choir will join them. Your weather for tonight, some clouds and cold with lows of 29 degrees. On Saturday, partly sunny with highs of 38. Saturday night, clouds developing. Light freezing drizzle is possible with some sleet and wet snow after midnight. Lows of 31 degrees. On Sunday, clouds and some flurries in the morning. It'll be windy with highs of 35. And Sunday night, partly cloudy and very cold. Lows bottoming out at 15 degrees. Right now, we've got 33 in St. Peter's, 32 in Florissant, and downtown at the Arch, 33 degrees. I'm Sean Malone, KMOX News.
Welcome back to the Gray Bar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
Into our second hour, we've got a busy hour coming up. In about 10 minutes or so, we are going to hear from Blues coach Jim Montgomery. He met with the media earlier today. They're on the road. They went through a practice session earlier today, and we'll hear some of what he had to say following a tough loss last night against the Bruins. Just again, I am sick. I'm so sick of hearing about energy and effort not being there for the Blues. And we talked about it on Rush Hour Sports. We talked about it with Scott Warman. It's exhausting. It is exhausting watching this team operate in a way where everybody knows what they should be doing and they're not doing it. And this group of individuals that have been brought together as a team, it's just not good. So we'll hear from Jim Montgomery coming up later on. We'll also hear from Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. We generally play that back for you on Friday night, where he talks with our sister station, 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City. Just talking with Carrington Harrison about everything going on during the week. It's a huge game. Huge game for the Chiefs on Sunday. They are 500. They probably have to, you never really know because other things can happen with other teams. But in all likelihood, they're going to need to win out to get into the playoffs. And even them winning out, a lot of the teams that are right next to them, so they're 6-6 in the standings right now. A lot of those 6-7 win teams have all been winning recently. So that puts that much more pressure on the Chiefs to win some games, because if those other teams are winning, if some of those 7-win teams keep winning and they're not teams that are at the top of their divisions, well, then they're going to grab those wild cards in front of the Chiefs. So certainly nothing is guaranteed. I wanted to spend just a few minutes on this real quickly. And this hits a little bit close to home. For those of you who don't know, I've mentioned it a whole bunch of times. I am a proud graduate of Kansas State University. And K-State football just lost their coach, Chris Kleiman. He made the decision to retire. Now, excited about who they brought in. Colin Klein is was a K-State great, played quarterback and was a coach there, and most recently was the offensive coordinator at Texas A&M, and A&M's having a really fantastic season. So excited about what it's going to look like moving forward. And the St. Louis audience certainly does not care about me breaking down the coaching search and the decisions being made for K-State football. But this is something that happened there is something that's going to resonate. We don't have this college football thing figured out when it comes to the money that's being spent, the name, image, likeness, all these things. And it would be disingenuous to not put some of the blame on coaches, and it would also be wrong to not acknowledge the fact that for years and years and years and years and years, coaches were making millions of dollars and players were making absolutely nothing, and the players were the ones that were resulting in money being brought in. I am in favor. I'm very much in favor of college athletes getting some sort of compensation. They bring in money, therefore they should be able to get money. That's my take on that. But it's gone so unregulated, and then as rules get put in place, they get taken to many times they're challenged in the legal proceedings, and then it just kind of opens up again. And the athletic director for Kansas State is a guy by the name of Gene Taylor. And he spoke to the media there, and he said, basically, we've got to figure out what we're doing in the world of college football, because more and more really good humans and really good individuals and really good talented coaches are going to walk away from the sport. So basically alluding to the fact that Chris Kleiman, who's a very good coach, is not coaching anymore because of where the industry has gone. Now, look, things always change. It doesn't have to be where the sport is right now to create change. And sometimes lesser changes are going to be something where a coach might say, I'm going to walk away from this. This isn't for me anymore. That's always, anything that evolves is always good. There's going to be people who jump off the train as something evolves. It's just not for them anymore. But it's happening a little bit more right now. And one of the things that Gene Taylor said, and I don't want to get into the weeds too much here, but basically there's a House settlement that occurred, and that's going to help push a lot of the money to the student athletes through the actual athletic departments. If you've seen a lot of these name, image, likeness collectives, the NIL collectives, many of them are going away because they don't actually have a purpose anymore, because everything is rolling through the actual school and the actual athletic department. And that's all kind of connected to the House settlement. Again, we don't have time to get into all the minutia of everything that has happened. And to be perfectly honest with you, there's probably parts about it that I don't even completely know or completely understand. And it's something that I follow along with. It's a pretty complicated situation, to be sure. But one of the things that Taylor, the Kansas State athletic director, said was that there's a lot of schools that are not doing what was agreed upon within the House settlement. And basically said that all these schools across the country, especially in the power conferences, need to sign an agreement saying that they are all going to play by the same set of rules. Now, there's always going to be, and we talk about this with Missouri a lot, because when we were discussing Eli Drinkwitz potentially going somewhere else to coach, and credit to Coach Drinkwitz, he is remaining at Missouri. But when we spoke about Drinkwitz potentially going somewhere else, one of the things that we talked about a lot was what other place is going to give you a better opportunity to win a national title? And what better place is going to give you an opportunity to win more consistently? Yeah, Missouri might be a better football program right now than the University of Florida. They might be winning more games than the University of Florida. But I think if we're really being honest about things and we take a step back and we look at the ceilings as they are right now, and I would argue that Eli Drinkwitz has lifted the ceiling up. I think they've already surpassed what we thought they could surpass. And can he continue to lift the ceiling at Mizzou moving forward? Absolutely he can. But as we sit right now, even in a time where the Missouri football program is winning more games than Florida, I think if we're being real about things, you take a step back and you say that Florida has more potential, that Florida might be closer to a national title or give you a better chance to win a national title than you have at Florida. That's not to say that it's impossible to do at Missouri. It's just the path is going to be a little bit easier at other schools. So even if all these schools sign on the dotted line and actually follow through with what they say that they're going to do, and they all play by the same rules where it evens up the playing field a little bit, there's always simply going to be resources at some schools that other schools do not have. And I'm not trying to run away from that. But if you're not following the rules, if you're not following what was agreed upon, well, then at that point, it gets that much more wild and that much more crazy. And if you're a Chris Kleiman coaching in Manhattan, Kansas, of all places, it becomes that much more tough to be able to actually get players to come in. And college football is a business. I'm not naive. College football is a business. But I also still believe in somewhat of the sanctity of college athletics. I still love the idea of the student athlete. Even if I'm in favor of them making money, I don't want it being completely professionalized. And that actually does bring us back to Missouri, because it was reported today. Eli Hoff wrote in the Post-Dispatch and STL Today about how the University of Georgia's athletic department has actually initiated legal proceedings against Missouri football player Damon Wilson. They are looking for just under $400,000 in damages related to his transfer between schools last winter. So evidently, he went to Georgia. He signed a term sheet for a 14-month contract to play at Georgia. A month later, he ended up transferring to Missouri. There are so many things here, because first off, I am of the belief that if you do make a commitment, you should stand up to your commitment. If he goes to Georgia and he has signed a 14-month commitment to stay at Georgia, well, then I would say honor your commitment and stay there, because it is a commitment. But then when we take one more step back beyond that, should these college football players actually be in a spot where you're signing basically contracts, where you're signing commitments to be at a place longer? And Mizzou has done multiple year deals with these players. So it's really hard to pay players money, a lot of money, some 6-7 figures money. It's really hard to pay them that money without locking them in to being somewhere for an extended amount of time. Where at the same time, if we're talking about college athletics, it feels like athletes should be able to have more freedom to go from one school to another. So maybe that's something else, that maybe there needs to be standardized rules here about what the financial implications are for players transferring out of a program. Because I really don't want to see them have their options limited in being able to transfer, even though I am of the belief that if you make a commitment to do something, and I realize I'm kind of talking out both sides of my mouth here, and that's where it's such a convoluted situation. And that's why I opened up talking about the thing going on at Kansas State, because there's nobody in charge. There's nobody in charge. And I know people have talked about having some sort of college football czar. People have floated Nick Saban's name for that. I don't think it's a terrible idea. I think standardizing rules across the power conferences makes sense. I talked about this last hour when I discussed the tiebreakers. Every conference creates their own tiebreaker for the top of the league and who's going to play in the conference championship game. So the ACC has these crazy sets of tiebreakers, and that has actually resulted in the ACC championship game matching up Duke against Virginia. What's notable about that is you don't have Miami. And Miami is a team that's right there at number 12. And if they go if Miami's playing in the ACC championship game, sitting at that 12 spot, they might have an opportunity to play themselves into the college football playoff. Because right now, if you're not in the top 10 spots, you're probably not going to get in, because you don't have an ACC team that is there, that's in the top 12. I guess Miami's at 12, but now they're not going to win the conference championship because they're not in it. So there's going to be a decision to be made about who the ACC representative is going to be. And then there's got to be a group of 5 representative in there as well. So these teams, it's having a tiebreaker that doesn't involve the college football playoff rankings doesn't make sense. So if I was the czar of football, my rule would be first tiebreaker, head-to-head record. And if there's like a 3-way tie, if you want to do a 3-way head-to-head type thing, that's fine. But once you get past that, you should be using the college football playoff rankings. That's what's best for the league. Miami should have an opportunity to play in the ACC championship to give themselves the better chance to get into a college football playoff. It's all connected. There's no leadership right now in college athletics. No rule that gets put in place is actually being enforced. You've got money being thrown around without people knowing the implications of that money being thrown around. You have really good people exiting the space because of they just don't want to deal with it anymore. It's not a great situation. It's Gray Bar Sports Open Line. We'll hear from Jim Montgomery next here on KMOX.
An important message from S&L Coins. S&L Coins pays top dollar for your gold and silver coins, old currency, gold-filled jewelry, scrap gold and silver, silver plating, gold and silver bullion. Get a quote with a call to S&L at 544-3600. S&L Coins, 544-3600. Or visit S&L Coins at 9300 Gravois, just east of McKenzie. Open 9 to 5 Monday through Friday, 9 to 4 Saturday. Before you sell, call S&L, 544-3600.
All right, so we are in the holiday time, and the holiday time means giving gifts. It's okay to give yourself a gift, and it's a gift that might actually help out your family as well. That would be really good, fast, reliable internet, and that's what you can get with i3 broadband. This is a really key thing, and I didn't totally know this. I've learned more. Like when I first got i3, I just knew it was really fast, and I wasn't paying as much for them as I was paying for lesser service with the cable company. Okay. That's really all you need to know. But here's something that I've learned. When another service tells you that their internet is fiber powered is not fiber internet. I have i3 at my home, and it is fiber into my house. It's pretty crazy that I'm paying less for that than what I paid with the cable company. 1 gig, 2 gig, 8 gig packages. They always mirror their upload and download speeds. It's really good internet. Check it out for yourself. Go to their website. Go to i3broadband.com/radio. i3broadband.com/radio. Put your address in, see if they're available. i3 Broadband, they are the internet service provider that you should be using at your home.
Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original, present 100 years of KMOX.
Today was October 7th, 1944.
There when St. Louis celebrated.
The only streetcar World Series in St. Louis. It was the Cardinals against the Browns. And Stan the Man went deep.
Man on first, 1 out. Top of the first inning. Stan Musial, another left-handed hitter. The slugger of the Cards stands in there. Pitch to him, swung on, a long ball hit deep to right field. It's going far out into right field. It's landing on the roof for a home run.
That was Stan's only home run of that series. The Cardinals beat the Browns in 6 games.
There for every headline, every heartbreak, every heartbeat. KMOX, the voice of St. Louis. Brought to you by Overhead Door Company of St. Louis, the genuine, the original.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house? On the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Actual price will depend on product and subscription plan. Featured products are compounded drug products, which the FDA does not approve or verify for safety, effectiveness, or quality. Prescription products require an online consultation with a healthcare provider who will determine if appropriate. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information.
Want a boost in and out of the bedroom? Hims has you covered. Introducing a new 2-in-1 approach to level up your game. Tadalafil for better bedroom performance and zinc for testosterone support. Put it all together and you've got what you need to turn things all the way up. Getting started is simple. Just go to hims.com/joy to start your free online visit. Through Hims, you can access ED treatments including pills, chews, and more. 100% online. No office visits, no pharmacy lines. Just fill out a simple intake form and a licensed medical provider will determine if treatment's right for you. If prescribed, it ships free and discreetly to your door. Find affordable treatment options at up to 95% less than brand names at hims.com/joy. That's hims.com/joy, HIMS.com/JOY.
Bernie Miklasz here for Saliga Heating and Cooling. Our family's called the Saliga family for 18 years, and we are grateful for Saliga's honesty, knowledge, and professionalism. They're the best. For more info, visit SaligaHeatingandCooling.com.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-575-6986. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-575-6986. That's 800-575-6986. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hey, this is former Cardinal Adam Wainwright. Congratulations to KMOX on 100 years as the voice of St. Louis.
It's a Great Bar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. My name is Matt Pauley, taking you until 8 o'clock this evening. Then we are going to make way for a Gas House Gang replay, which comes up from 8 o'clock to 9 o'clock tonight. Well, yesterday, unfortunately, seemingly more of the same from the St. Louis Blues. They go to Boston and lose by a 5-2 score. They're going to remain on the road, playing at Ottawa tomorrow, and then they'll play at Montreal on Sunday before getting back home for a rematch against the Bruins on Tuesday. Let's listen into a little bit of what Jim Montgomery had to say today. The team went through a practice in Ottawa, and he was asked what were some of the things that they were focusing on in practice today.
We didn't think our angling was very good last night, so wanted to improve upon our angling, want to improve upon our passing and our puck movement, puck support.
Stop me if you've heard this one before. The Blues have shuffled their lines. They did it again today. The lines look like this in practice. Robert Thomas centering Jake Neighbors and Pavel Buchnevich. Dalibor Dvorsky centering Jordan Kyrou and Dylan Holloway. Braden Shen centering Pius Suter and Nick Bjugstad. And then Oscar Sundqvist centering Matthew Joseph and Alexandre Kaskamaki. And Montgomery had a lot to say, because this is we've seen it a lot. Like I made the joke about stop me if you heard this one before. It's because it always happens. And it happens with a lot of coaches and a lot of teams when things are not going well. That is one of the first things that ends up happening, that a team is going to shuffle the lines a little bit. And Montgomery spoke for a while today about what he wants to see, how he tries to get a spark, how often he goes back to something that maybe worked previously. So he was asked, why change the lines again?
A spark. We switched them up during the game last night, ended up going back to the same lines in the third period. Just trying to see what different thing looks like. Give maybe someone has another spark with somebody else and they get excited about the opportunity to play together.
Are there certain line combinations you found earlier on the season that you want to go back to at some point, like that you found it worked earlier but maybe they would need to get a re-spark now?
I can't say that, I feel that the Dvorsky, Buchnevich, Shen line had some chemistry for a couple of games, but it dissipated. I feel that that's kind of been the way for the whole year, and I think that's why we haven't won more than 2 games in a row, is because we haven't established any kind of regularity to when a line goes over the boards, you're like, oh, yeah, there's the Thomas line, oh, there's the Suter line, there's the Shen line, there's the, Sundqvist line. I mean, maybe the line that was the most like that would have been the Sundqvist, Torpo, and Walker, or a combination of those 3 with Mojo.
Is that a chicken and the egg thing a little bit when it comes to chemistry on a line, of amount of time it needs for develop, or if it wanes, can it come back? That kind of thing, or is it something you see automatically?
Yeah, it does come back. At times, like we've gone back to Shen, Holloway, Kyrou more than 3 times this year. and it hasn't been the same. Like, why that is, it's just sometimes guys are in different mindsets, different attitudes. They're playing a little bit differently, and the chemistry's just off. Last year it was beautiful for us, but that's a good example. And usually a combination of Thomas and Buchnevich and Neighbors, which we went back to today, has really generated a lot. And they were generating there right before Jakey got hurt, but it hasn't transpired because that's what we did right away once it didn't work with Snuggerud, which Snuggerud, Thomas, and Buchnevich really worked last year too. Hasn't had that same pop, right?
The Blues have not been as good on the power play this year as they would like to be, and Montgomery also spent some time talking about that and what he specifically wants to see from his power play groups.
More of an attack mindset, not only power play, but 5-on-5, like offensively. I don't think we're attacking the net enough off the rush and in the offensive zone.
You feel you don't have enough guys at the net front on the power play as well, or?
I think that's more of a problem 5-on-5. I think right now on the power play, we just don't have a lot of in-zone time to be able to establish that.
We have seen the debut of Alexandre Kaskimaki, and he is somebody who I know the Blues think highly of. Maybe he's here a little bit earlier than they would have liked him to be here, but injuries are what they are, and there's not much you can do about that. Montgomery talked through what he saw from Kaskimaki in his debut.
I thought his attitude was awesome. I asked him today how the experience was, and a bright smile comes on his face, and his attitude was about what a great experience. A dream come true, and like sometimes we all forget, and I'm talking about us in the locker room, but I also think that when you're going through the mud like this season has been so far, I even think that it's hard for you guys to get out of the mud sometimes and see the bright spots. I'm not saying you don't, but I'm sure as I'm saying it, you're probably agreeing, it's hard to see the bright spot in a game last night, right? But he did. And that's where our mindsets need to go.
And then when it comes to young players overall, because this roster right now has a good number of young players on it, Montgomery spoke through what he's looking for from young players specifically during practice to be able to impress him.
By the pace they play with, by not the simple plays, but now they're hanging on to the puck and they're making a play that you're like, oh, that's his confidence really coming with the puck. And then just how competitive they are, taking away time and space from a vet that they, a lot of times young players show a lot of respect to the vets, as they should. But when they're practicing to make their teammates better. So when they start practicing to make them better, that's when you start to see a difference in them.
And then finally, let's finish this off on a positive note, because again, it has not been great for the Blues, but remarkably, as much as they have struggled this year, with 25 points, they are still just 4 points out of a playoff spot. So we can keep saying all they got to do is go on some sort of hot streak and they'll be right there. That remains true. They haven't shown any indication that that's going to happen quite yet. But Montgomery did make the point that it has not been all negative for the Blues this year.
I was thinking team, because I think team. But, Broberg, wow. An elite player in the league, puts the team on his back as much as he can. That's been a wow factor for me. Like, if I'm looking at individuals, I'm always looking at the team, and I think the power play's been good at times. It hasn't been as good lately. The penalty kill's been really good lately. 5-on-5 play, D-zone coverage was poor to start, got better, wasn't good last night. So there's a reason why we're 3 games below 500.
That is Jim Montgomery. Again, the Blues are going to match up against Ottawa tomorrow on the road, then play in Montreal on Sunday, and then they'll be back for a home game coming up on Tuesday when they match up against Boston. We'll take a break, and when we come back, we're going to hear our weekly conversation courtesy of our sister station in Kansas City with Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. The Chiefs have a huge game coming up on Sunday when they match up against Houston. It feels like the Chiefs cannot afford to lose another game if they still want to be a playoff club this year. We'll hear from Patrick Mahomes coming up in just a moment. Don't go anywhere. You are locked to a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Hi, Margaret with Eamon Gantner and Capriano. Life happens. Accidents, deaths. Make your estate plan now, or the courts We'll decide for you later. Eamon Gantner and Capriano, yourestatematters.com.
The choice of an attorney is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertising.
Hey, it's Debbie Monterey, and can you believe it's already the holiday season? While most people are thinking about lights and gift lists, a lot of homeowners are also wondering if now is the right time to sell or if they should wait until the new year. So I'm here with Gloria Liu from Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria, what should sellers be thinking about right now?
Great question. Even during the holidays, serious buyers are still out there, and with fewer homes on the market, sellers actually face less competition. When we get into the new year, listings start to spike and competition rises. But that's never a problem for my clients because I guarantee to sell your home at your price and time frame, or I will buy it myself. Whether you want to move now or after the holidays, we'll make it smooth and stress-free.
That's why Gloria Liu is the trusted choice for St. Louis home sellers. Call 314-325-6888 or visit gloriahasthebuyers.com. From all of us, happy holidays, and here's to your next move being your best one. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
Open the door to savings with beautiful Mastercraft doors at Menards. Transform your home for the holidays with Mastercraft doors. Choose from our huge in-stock selection or design your door your way with our free step-by-step design program. Get your door in 7 days or less. Get a ready-to-paint 6-panel interior door for only $89.99 now at Menards. Plus, check out our weekly flyer on Menards.com for more great deals happening now.
Neovitin began with one doctor's mission to help others feel their best. After years of caring for patients, Dr. Ken Ribicki, a St. Louis physician, created Neovitin, a line of multivitamins designed with quality, safety, and everyday wellness in mind. Each formula is made in the U.S. using the finest domestic and international ingredients to support real people living real lives. Discover the difference today with Neovitin, available at Schnucks, Dierbergs, and Neovitin.com. Neovitin, trusted nutrition from St. Louis for St. Louis.
Setting goals for retirement is one thing, but knowing how to achieve those goals is another.
What are your wishes, hopes, and dreams? What's retirement look like for you? Because everybody, that picture is different.
For tips on building a better nest egg, tune in to the All Financial Hour with host Steve All, Saturday mornings at 10 or Sunday evenings at 6, right here on KMOX. You can also visit yourmoneymattersstl.com for more details.
At Graybar, we know your time is money. That's why our services go beyond parts and products. With kitting, pre-assembly, wire carts, and Graybar smart reels that keep you moving. We stage materials and manage logistics so you can spend less time sorting and more time installing. And with locations nationwide, we deliver when and where you need it, working to make your job easier every step of the way. Yep, Graybar does that.
A KFC tale in the pursuit of flavor. The holidays were tricky for the Colonel. He loved people, but he also loved peace and quiet. So he cooked up KFC's $4.99 chicken pot pie. Warm, flaky, with savory sauce and vegetables. It's a tender chicken-filled excuse to get some time to yourself and step away from decking the halls, whatever that means. The Colonel lived so we could chicken. KFC's Chicken Pot Pie. The best $4.99 you'll spend this season.
Prices and participation may vary while supplies last. Taxes, tips, and fees extra.
Selling your home, it's one of the biggest financial decisions you'll ever make. You could go it alone, trying to navigate market trends, determine fair pricing, and tackle tricky negotiations on your own. You could second-guess every decision, wondering if you're doing it right. Then there's the showings, the offers, and the mountain of paperwork. Or you could work with the expertise of a realtor, here to guide and help protect as you make your next big move. Realtors are members of the National Association of Realtors. Right by you.
Welcome back to the Graybar Sports Open Line. Once again, Matt Pauley on KMOX.
It's the Graybar Sports Open Line right here on KMOX. Well, the Kansas City Chiefs, they have lost 3 of their last 4 games. They last played on Thanksgiving Day, as you heard right here on KMOX, when they fell to the Cowboys by a 31-28 score. With that loss, it dropped their record to 6-6, and they're really in a spot now where they probably have to win out if they want to be a playoff club this year. The good news is they've got a bunch of games on the schedule that look very winnable. I would argue that they'll probably be favored in every single game that they play for the rest rest of the way as long as they do keep winning. It starts with a game coming up on Sunday Night Football this week when they match up against Houston. You'll hear it here on KMOX. And with that, it is time for our weekly conversation with the Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes, courtesy of our sister station 96.5 The Fan in Kansas City, as Carrington Harrison, our colleague in Kansas City, sits down with the Chiefs quarterback every week. And as they opened up the conversation this week, they talked a little bit about the experience of not just playing on Thanksgiving Day, where everybody was watching the game against Dallas, but also an opportunity for Mahomes to play in his home state in front of a lot of friends and family, even though the game ended up as a loss against the Cowboys.
No, I mean, it was really cool. I mean, you kind of got that feel, kind of like a playoff game or another big game like that where everybody's watching and you have to go out there and play your best football. And so it was really cool for me. Having a lot of family and friends in attendance and going out there and getting to play on Thanksgiving.
What were your impressions of the Cowboys Stadium?
It's awesome. I got to play there in college a lot, and so I always had the dream of playing there in the NFL. So to be able to do that was really cool, and the fan base was awesome. There was a lot of Chiefs fans there, so it was cool to see the fan base travel to Dallas.
Man, absolutely. When they did the home of the Chiefs, that was loud. That's as loud as I've heard it. Is that as loud as you've heard it? Is there anywhere comparable to that?
I don't know for sure. I mean, sometimes we get out there to L.A. Sometimes there's a lot of Chiefs fans that take that trip as well. So, but it definitely was loud. It was really cool to see. I mean, even seeing some Texas Tech jerseys as well. So it was cool to see that my fans from everywhere were kind of out there in attendance.
Obviously, it's cool to play these kind of games. It's cool to play on Thanksgiving. There's an honor to play on Christmas Day, but you're also a family man. You're married. You have kids. How do you balance your job, your work responsibility, and also making that time for your family?
Yeah, I mean, first off, having a great wife, helps out a ton, and her being able to handle a lot of the other extracurricular stuff that I can't necessarily be there for, and getting the family all settled and everything like that. And then the only thing good about playing on Thursday is you get the weekend off, and was able to get to spend Thanksgiving with my family and everybody like that. And so obviously don't get to do it on the actual day, but having a few extra days off where I can get away and be around family was definitely cool.
I don't know if you've seen the ratings yet for the game. They just came out. 57.2 million people watched Thursday's game. The audience peaked at 61.3 million. It is the most watched regular season game in NFL history. I thought the number was going to be big. I wasn't sure it was going to be this big. That's an incredible number.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it speaks to how much people love the NFL and love football, and we've been able to grow our fan base over these last few years, and obviously Dallas is a huge fan base as well. And so it's cool to see that the NFL is just continuing to break more and more records with these games.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. I want to get a couple of college football questions in before we talk about you guys. Let's start with your Texas Tech Red Raiders, your alma mater. You guys are playing for the Big 12 championship game just a couple of weeks away from the college football playoff.
Yeah, no, it's extremely exciting. I mean, obviously, they've had this vision over these last few years of building the program, and Coach McGuire's done a great job of that. And then along with the NIL and everything like that, they've really taken advantage of the space that college football is in, and they've got a lot of great players in. But I think more than anything, they've built a great culture, and I think that's something that it's hard to really comprehend is the culture that they built there, and being able to bring players in through the portal or through recruiting, and then getting them to believe in the brand and what they're building. It's special, and they've done a great job of getting themselves to the Big 12 championship, and I'm excited for them in the postseason journey.
I know you were spending time with family this weekend, but I'm sure you watched a little bit of college football, and you were tracking the top story. Lane Kiffin is now leaving Ole Miss and is going to be the head coach of LSU. What did you make of this, man? It was the biggest story in football for those 2 days.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it's something. The calendar is something that they got to work with in college football as far as transfers and the coaching hiring process and signing day and stuff like that. But I think it's awesome for him to be able to go to another journey and be able to keep rising in the ranks of college football. But at the same time, I feel bad for the kids, man. I mean, being able to be in the playoff run and losing your head coach, but you can't fault him, man. That's just kind of how the schedule works and how things go. And obviously a crazy story, but hopefully the kids can still go out there and live out their dreams playing in the playoffs and stuff like that, and then everybody can kind of move forward in a positive way, and hopefully people learn from this, and we can move the schedule around so that this doesn't happen again.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes. Let's transition to you guys. How would you describe the urgency that is in the building? I don't need to tell you about you guys' situation. Is it like a playoff-level intensity for you guys heading into this week?
I mean, it kind of has to be. I mean, knowing that this is such a pivotal game as far as not only trying to get back to winning football games, which we have to do, but also playing a team that's competing kind of for the same type of spot that you are to get into the playoffs. And so this is a great football team we're going up against, and we understand that. And I think guys are just coming in with the mindset of we got to play our best football. We got to play our best football, and there's kind of no other options other than that.
Right now, we're talking to the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, going through some of the storylines right now with the team. What do you make of this AFC that we have so far? It feels like it's kind of turned upside down for a little bit. The teams that have historically been good, they're maybe not having the season, and there's a lot of new blood right now. This really feels like the parity that we always talk about on a year-by-year basis in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, I think you've seen with the coaches that have come into the AFC and the players and the quarterbacks. I mean, it's anybody can get hot at the right moment and go out there and win games. And some of these young quarterbacks are playing really good football and winning a lot of football games. And so but we're kind of all jumbled up there in the middle. And so I think it's just kind of who can get hot at the right time and try to make a run at it. And that's kind of how it usually is in the NFL.
There's some teams that are just common themes in your career. Buffalo, for example, Cincinnati for those few years. You know, some teams that you've seen a lot. I feel like you guys have played Houston a lot over the last 3-4 seasons. How much of it is an advantage in that way that you're playing a team that you are very familiar with this weekend?
Yeah, I mean, it's another team that's just that competes at a high level year in and year out, and they have a lot of great football players. And I think it's going to be an extremely challenging game because, I mean, it's going to be someone that they're going to come in with the right mindset, and they're going to come flying around, and we have to match that intensity and take it to another level. And so we've played them in a lot of these big games, and they've kind of been close, all of them. And so I think we just got to come with that mindset of we got to find a way to win no matter what it takes.
When you look at that Texans defense on film, what's the first thing that jumps out to you?
Yeah, I think it's just the speed they play with. You know, like everybody on their team, they come around, they fly around, and they try to make plays happen. And I think that's something that when you play with that effort, usually good things happen. And it starts everywhere. I mean, D-line, obviously, extremely talented. Linebackers, extremely talented. And DBs are extremely talented. And so they all play and fly around, and Coach Ryans has them going. And so for us, we have to be able to match that intensity every single snap.
Football is definitely a next man up mentality. It looks like you guys are going to have some injuries on the offensive line heading into this one, which isn't ideal going up against a defensive line as difficult as the Texans. How do you guys game plan? How do you guys scheme to make up for some of the absences you're going to have on the O-line?
Yeah, I mean, you got to do a lot of different things. I mean, obviously, you got to be able to run the football. You got to be able to attack whenever there's chances to attack down the field, and then get the ball to my hands when I need to get the ball to my hands. I think the thing about going up against really good defenses, you have to be able to show that you can do everything. And that's something that we have to continue to get better and better at. But you give them the respect that they deserve, and then you go out there and you play within yourself, and you keep positive plays happening.
Right now, we're talking to Patrick Mahomes here for a couple more minutes. Coach Reed, a couple of days ago, talked about this team being close, mentioned that they are 1 or 2 plays away. You're the quarterback of the team. You're the leader of the team. What do you feel like you need to do in these pressurized situations to make those 1 or 2 extra plays to win on Sundays?
Yeah, you just got to execute at a higher level in some of these big moments. Like we are close, but at the end of the day, you got to go out there and make the plays happen. And so I think that's been the difference in this year and all our previous years is we're not making those big plays in those big moments. And I've said it since the beginning. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to go up there and make them. And that's something that we're going to try to do the rest of the season.
Are you guys looking at it like you still control your destiny? I know right now you guys are not in your usual position that you are in the division or in the standings. But if you look at this, if you guys run the table, you're back in the postseason, and you'll be as hot and as dangerous as anybody.
Yeah, we just want to get in there, man. We just want to get into the playoffs, and in order to do that, we got to kind of win all the rest of our games. So we'll take it week by week, day by day. But at the end of the day, you just go out there and play your best football, try to win the rest of these games, get into the playoffs, and then if anybody's got the chance to go out there and win it.
Are you scoreboard watching at all? Are you keeping up with what else is happening in the AFC?
I mean, at this point, not really. I mean, I think if we just can kind of win up all of our games, the rest will kind of handle itself at this point. And so just trying to win football games, taking it, like I said, day by day, just trying to be the best that we can be, and then win this week and then move on to the next week. And if we can win all our football games, we'll be in the playoffs. And then if we're in the playoffs, I can take us versus anybody.
I'll get you out of here with this one. What is the emphasis? What is the theme of the week? What are you guys really trying to prioritize heading into this matchup against the Houston Texans to get this thing back on track?
Yeah, I mean, more than anything, man, we're going to stay within ourselves, and we're going to go out there and play our football. And like I said, I believe that we can go out there and win any game at any moment, but we got to go out there and prove it. And so I'm excited for the chance to go out there and prove it this weekend.
That is the quarterback of the Kansas City Chiefs, Patrick Mahomes, joining us on the show today as they get ready for Sunday Night Football at Arrowhead against the Texans. Patrick, good luck this week, man. Catch up with you next week.
Yeah, appreciate you.
That is Chiefs quarterback Patrick Mahomes. Again, it is the Chiefs and the Texans Sunday night, 7:20 kickoff, and we'll have full coverage right here on KMOX, your home for Chiefs football in St. Louis. One more break. We'll come back, and we'll wrap up this edition of a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
Winterfest is back for the 10th year in Keener Plaza, now through January 11th. Enjoy Winterfest traditions, including ice skating, s'mores, and igloos underneath 100,000 twinkling lights in the shadow of the Gateway Arch. Grab a bite or drink from downtown favorites and enjoy a family-friendly New Year's Eve fireworks spectacular. Winterfest, hosted by Gateway Arch Park Foundation, presented by Bank of America and Worldwide Technology. For more info, KMOX.com/events.
At Cardinal Glennon Children's Hospital, every moment with our patients is a gift. Thanks to supporters like you, children have hope as they fight serious illness and reach incredible milestones. Please donate today at treeofhope.org.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. No, we're not one of the big guys. Truth is, we don't want to be. If you're over 50, Big Wireless probably has you paying for more data than you might need. You could be throwing away thousands over a lifetime.
Our entry-level data plans start at just $20 a month. And for a limited time, switch and get your second month free. Call 1-888-FREEDOM, visit consumercellular.com or a store near you and get your second month free today. Plans include $5 credit for autopay and e-billing. See site for additional details.
Do you owe $10,000 or more to the IRS like Mark?
I've been doing home remodeling for 30 plus years, but the economy crashed. I wound up losing my home, losing my job, and on top of that, owing the IRS a ton of money. I owed the IRS $114,000. It really, truly was the worst part of my life.
Then Mark found tax relief advocates.
On news radio, I heard about TRA, and I thought, what's the worst that could happen? So I picked up the phone and I called them. When it was all said and done, TRA settled my $114,000 debt for $100, and I'm telling you, I was ecstatic. Could not believe it. Would recommend TRA to anyone.
If you owe 10 or even hundreds of thousands of dollars to the IRS, don't lose hope. Do what Mark did and call TRA for a consultation.
But TRA did. They gave me a second chance, and I'm forever grateful.
Visit TRA.com or call 800-491-9914. 800-491-9914. That's 800-491-9914.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Want to build income without a second job? Learn how real estate investing can help you create extra income one step at a time with Lifestyles Unlimited. Text radio to 88007. That's RADIO to 88007. Presented by Lifestyles Unlimited.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house? On the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Monday night, it's the 56th Annual Jack Buck Sports Awards at the Missouri Athletic Club. A night to remember with Jordan Bennington, Jim Hart, and John Rooney among the honorees. The 56th Annual Jack Buck Sports Awards, this Monday night, live at 8 p.m. on KMOX.
Back at it on the Great Bar Sports Open Line for just a few more moments here on KMOX. We are going to get out of here. We've got our Gas House Gang replay coming up in just a few moments. Quick programming note for you. I know that we have mentioned this to you a few times, but we are going to be doing the show from Orlando and from the baseball winter meetings coming up next week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. We'll all be live from the baseball winter meetings in Orlando. And then our first edition of the Countdown to Opening Day show, Mike Claiborne and myself will be coming your way from Orlando for the first edition of that program coming up on Thursday night. In addition to everything you'll hear here during these hours, I'll be on Rush Hour Sports from Orlando. I'll be doing hits throughout the day, whether it's with Chris and Amy or Glover, leaving reports for the morning show to be able to use during Tom's Sportscast. And if anything breaks, I'll be there to hop on right away and get thoughts. We did get confirmation. We are going to be talking with Chaim Bloom on an every night basis on Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. So we'll get an idea of what's going on, what's being said, if there's much developments, and if any moves are being made. We'll get his comments and we'll be able to bring those remarks to you on an everyday basis. So hopefully you are able to. The goal. Everything. We've seen very slow winter meetings in the past where we say all these things about how important they're going to be and how it seems like there could be a lot of activity, and then nothing ends up happening. We are hopeful that is not the case. And again, speaking of hope, I keep saying that. I keep using that word. The idea is that you can be locked into KMOX all next week and hear exclusive content from Orlando, from the baseball winter meetings, and hear from Chaim Bloom every day. And again, if something does end up breaking, we will break into programming no matter where we're at, and we'll break it all down for you. So looking forward to being able to do that. So I will travel out to Florida over the weekend, and when I'm back with you on Monday, I'll be coming your way from Orlando for the baseball winter meetings. And the idea is that it's going to be a very, very busy baseball winter meetings. We just need Chaim Bloom and the Cardinals to go ahead and cooperate when it comes to that. Again, we've got our Gas House Gang replay. It's coming up in just a moment or so. Don't go anywhere. Thanks for being tuned in. This has been a Gray Bar Sports Open Line on KMOX.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio and the guru of